Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We've been in a paperwork session we just come out of, and I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat from eating too many toadstools, and so I'm going to turn the meeting over to Kim Queenan so that she can run it, so that people at home can understand her. So, Vice Chair.
Great, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Why don't we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we're going to do a couple of items, and then we'll move on to the annual board health meeting. Review of approval of consent items. Number one, accounts payable manifest for 11/5/2024 for $1,193,000, $1,193,617.80. Another one on 11/12/2024 for $120,824.90, and one on November 19th, 2024 for $12,279.79. And we had a payroll manifest. We have three of those. November 7th, 2024, $70,082.32. November 14th, $65,138.03. And November 21st, 2024, $68,141.95. Item 3, communications received since October 25th, 2024. They are in the portal for the public to see. Town clerk reconciliation for October 2024, and the town collector reconciliation for October 2024. All right. Is everyone else set to approve these, or anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion.
We approve them.
Second.
Okay, we have Mr. Lynch, and then we have Mr. Brunel. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0-0. All right, the only other item for the health meeting will be any requests for additional items or other business.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, we add to the agenda the topic of paving of the police fire range with an acceptance of a gift. The said paving of the range at an estimated value of $10,000 by Continental Paving. This is at our, right behind our Recycling Way location.
Great,
I'll second that.
you'll second? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, we will add that.
They ruined my whole fight.
Okay. All right, we're conducting an annual Board of Health meeting, tonight, so why don't you come on up? We have our health inspector, Paul LaCroix, and our deputy health inspector, Captain Paul Kelly. Come on up. Hi. Kim, I will turn this over to you. Yep.
So in accordance with RSA 128:7:3, the Board of Selectmen is required to have a annual Board of Health meeting. Both our health inspector and our deputy health inspector put together this PowerPoint, and I will move it forward as they wish. So I'll ask Mr. LaCroix to start with the agenda.
Hi, I'm Scott LaCroix, Health Officer tonight. You have the slide?
You gonna start?
Yep, as soon as I get to the slide. Okay, the mosquito facts, it's basically the mosquitoes need water to breed, as we know. Females are the only ones that can bite, and there's some other there, but there are 40 species of mosquitoes in New Hampshire, but only a small number that carry these diseases. And there's 8 of them that are most common that carry them. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce all of them. I have all the information. It's in the office if you want to see it, and come through it and read it. But there's basically only 8, and I'd be hard pressed to try and pronounce them. I'm sorry. And you can contact the Bureau of Infectious Disease if you have any questions or you would like to know, or get some paperwork. Next slide. This is basically the risk level is in this area down here in the southern, spreading into central for the most part, and only as far west as Keene is low risk, but the rest of them in the upper area are medium to high risk. But there's one place I don't have one of the maps on there, unfortunately, but on this map shows that the southern tip and eastern, southeast, there's only 30 towns that actually can conduct trapping. The rest of the state, as you can see up through here, similar, there's no trapping at all. It's very expensive, and it's, for these smaller towns, they just don't. And so it skews kind of all the level, all the participants in there. So, next. This is a breakdown of the test results up until October. Current year to date, number of tests on humans. They've had 39 tests so far, 1 positive for the West Nile, 5 positive for the EE, and Jamestown Canyon. There's been 3. But noted with these as a number C, and at least one of these is not positive that it was actually contracted in New Hampshire. So, unfortunately, there has been 1 death, and that was a gentleman in Hampstead. He was 41 years old, and he passed away. But there is another one that was hospitalized in September, and he was in Danville. So, of all these humans that have been tested, it's been basically, unfortunately, down south, and but it has gone up to the Lakes region as far as Laconia. They have Gilmanton, Tilton, Hampstead, Kensington, Derry, Swansea, Newmarket, and Danville, of all the humans, all adults that have tested positive. Next. And these are the humans that have tested positive for that. So, basically, it runs through June, they say, till October for the first real hard frost, but we've known up until November sometimes before we get a real hard frost, so it could go from May to November. The state ends their testing in, I think, October 15th is when they're done doing their testing on batches. The town will test, if needed, up until December, this town in Litchfield. So I have all information if you need it in our office. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer them for you now, if you have any. I know it's a intriguing stuff. No? Nothing? I worked real hard on this.
So it's just that the town has a new website that was launched earlier this year, and if you go onto the town website under community news, we do have information from our contractors.
Yeah, more, yeah.
And so information and testing that they've done is out there, and any explanation on local, we try to put under that community news section on our website.
I will say there is, going through this, they don't actually list insecticides or any type of, that they promote or anything, but there was one. It's called pemethrin. It's an insecticide that, this is the only one that I could find that they actually listed, and it just goes on your gear and your clothing. But it's odd that that was the only one that they actually brought up in any of this literature. Okay, so it obviously must work. So, and as usual, just from dusk to dawn during the summer and fall air, just use insecticides, repellents, long sleeves. Stay away from the swamps and all the areas where they are, and still water, and so basically that's about it. Any questions? No?
Where do you find the still water this year? We haven't had any. I just want to say it's been a
Well, there's marshes. They hang out in the marshes and areas like that, and so
This is something that's been going on for years.
It has, but if you look at it, it really, for about 3 years, there was no testing. Then about 4 or 5 years ago, there was like 15 cases.
Yeah, they
It's
picked it
jumped
up.
to 16 this year after that lull.
Yep.
And it's more prevalent in the West Nile, and obviously Jamestown too. And there's another one, a fourth one that they're testing for is Powassan. It's another one so there's 4 now.
Yep.
So they're just growing. I didn't realize there was over 40 types of mosquitoes in New Hampshire alone, so.
You learn something new every day.
It does, isn't it? It's a great job.
It is.
Health inspector is just, it's a great job.
Learning experience. Everybody.
It is. Okay, if there's no questions, I'll give it to my ponder here.
Thank you.
All right, Captain Henry.
I have no
Okay, so I just wanted to give a quick update on the COVID, flu, and RSV, seeing how we're coming
As
into
we're
the
all
season for it
coughing
all.
and sneezing and-
Yeah.
Everybody's coughing, sneezing, right. So, the data for COVID basically has gone null and void up until about a year ago because of, the home tests that seem to be available to everybody to test at home. There's no more, monitoring or testing from doctors, hospitals, labs. So it'd be hard pressed to find numbers and spikes. I did put up there that they are starting to test wastewater treatment areas to kind of note spikes in areas and communities. Unfortunately, Litchfield does not have wastewater available, so we don't know if there's any spikes in our area. We have still respond to calls per month for people that are COVID positive. We do get the notification. The crews are advised to still use their PPE, their masks, and decon after every call and all the equipment. And basically, it's just on the parties that might be having symptoms to self-monitor. Go buy the tests, test yourself, and until your symptoms, they now say up to 5 days, you should be isolating inside and staying away from people. There are medications on the that you can get from your doctor to kind of help combat this. But as I said, the numbers have gone away. 2 of the other viruses or ailments that kind of mimic COVID with flu and RSV. There is now a 4th, which mimics RSV. People are getting, but it's not hitting any of the 3 tests. So there's another virus that's prevalent amongst adults. I don't know, many people probably feel it themselves if they're walking around coughing, sneezing, and you go to your doctor, they test you for all 3 and you come back negative. So it's one of those that's just, they're monitoring, but they haven't picked up a strain yet as to where it's coming from. With RSV, it's seen more in the pediatric and elderly population. It's similar to the flu. You can get tested through your doctor in emergency rooms and urgent cares. There's no treatment for it. They just treat the symptoms, so respiratory ailments, inhalers, it just has to run its course. Adults can ward it off in a couple of days. Kids are kind of more resistant to it, more prevalent to it. They can get sicker, up to hospitalization. And for the flu, it starts right around this time. It started in mid-October, runs to May. And obviously, flu shots are available from doctors and pharmacies. And anybody with a history of respiratory ailment such as COPD or asthma becomes more complications from the flu that are out there, A and B. And of course, there are treatments of that too, over the counter and as well as prescriptions for. One of the things I tried to put up is last week we were kind of in the high range. This week we dropped to a moderate, but the state is basically completely low to moderate for flu and RSV. We do have some other testing that the state does and monitors, but it's kind of at a low rate right now.
Is this on the town website?
I'm sorry?
Is this on the town the website?
I can send it
The whole
over to the
presentation.
town administrator and we can post it.
Okay, good.
But people can go onto the Public Health Service Network,
Yes.
and all of that is weekly monitored and reported.
Actually, so.
So the only other information that we wanted to make sure that got out there was because a lot of people have asked us about PFAS and understanding the new ruling that came out in September that continued the rebate program. So if anyone has tested positive, which testing does come to the town, and Mr. LaCroix's office receives that, we have been cataloging all that information on anybody who has tested over the limit, and as many know, the limit is lowering with the new federal regulations. But so the state has continued what we call the POET program, so you can get a new type of monitoring and filtration system through the state, or the state will help, which you don't really have to worry about with Litchfield being under the descent decree for St. Gobain, but if you decide to do the POET system or some other system, the state will give reimbursement for that. All this information is out on the Litchfield website under community news, and we're posting it as we get it. So that information is out there, and this is where you would see it, under community and community news. The other item we want to talk about just really briefly is stormwater, because part of our stormwater, our MS4 permit, is doing public education and outreach. And there's a few pieces to that we've been trying to get items out, either through our Facebook page, so please sign up for the town Facebook page, or through our website. Some of those you might have seen is keeping up with your leaves and making sure that leaves don't fill our catch basins and that they're not blocking any outfalls. So we've put out, this is one of the items that we've put out. Keeping our waterways clean is part of our MS4, and that takes everybody. Everybody in town needs to be proactive in making sure that we can keep our rivers and our waterways clean. Another item is, and you might have seen the poop bags along the bike path. There's 5 different areas that our highway department has put these out, so we ask you to please pick up after your animals, whether it's down at our conservation sites or whether it's along our bike path. Unfortunately, this leads to disease and other items that we want to keep out of our waterways. And then getting pumped, making sure that you are pumping your septic systems. That's another area where we help to keep our waterways clean, and we really ask you to protect your family, protect your community, and make sure that you're having that done regularly. There are pamphlets in the town hall lobby, and we can certainly give you any more information that you need, either by contacting our highway department or contacting Donna in the Selectmen's office. That's it.
Very good.
Oh, I will say, sorry, I don't want to,
Yeah.
but there are no vaccinations for the Triple E or any of those, so, but they say once you catch it, you're immune from ever getting it again, is what they say. But forgot, there are no vaccines, so once you get it, and Triple E is the worst as far as attacking your nervous system, and so, sorry, I didn't put that in there when I was talking about it.
So you're testing in the area, that's what you're doing, but then if people go to the hospital and have certain symptoms, they report it?
Yeah.
Is that how it's
So,
metrics?
A
Okay.
lot of them don't even get reported because they're not even testing in most of the state. So,
Scary. Right?
It is, it's scary, all the things out there. I mean, many people have, and now you hear quite a bit about food. And, whether it's, the cheeseburgers at McDonald's, which luckily haven't been in New England, but just being very careful about making sure you wash your food, making sure you're testing your water, making sure you pump your septic, making sure you clean your yards. It's a lot. It's a lot out there.
questions? No? Great. Thank you both very much.
Good night.
For all your work.
I spent a lot of years doing that stuff.
All right, let's see. So
That was easy.
that was easy. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45. I can do it now before I forget for later, so.
Yep, there you go.
Is there any public input?
Any members of the
If
public?
anybody from the public want to come up? Okay. We will, so we opened it at 6:49, we'll close it at 6:50. Great. All right, business item number 1 of 18. Approval of the minutes for October 28th, 2024. Everybody had a chance to read?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
I will second.
We have a first for Mr. Leary, a second for Mr. Gannon. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 I got to stay, I was out sick that day.
Okay, so 4-0-1. Oh, I'm gonna let her note there. All right, item number 2. Tax warrant, 2024 tax warrant pending as of November 15th, 2024.
I assume we don't have it still.
That's correct. We added this to the agenda in the hopes that the tax warrant would be available. We are receiving numbers of calls asking if tax bills have been issued. As of just before 5 o'clock tonight, we did not have a tax rate. All the information has now been supplied to the Department of Revenue. So we are in the list of towns to be reviewed, and we're hoping it's within the next day or two. So we will let the selectmen know as soon as the tax warrant is available, and unfortunately, they'll to ask you to stop at Town Hall and sign it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or
Be
discussion?
patient. Just be patient.
All right, item number 3. Matt Haley, Santa Fund, and Susan Haley, CHS Wonderthon Play.
First, I'll let them come. Susan Haley, 6 Pilgrim Drive. I'm here on behalf of Campbell High School Friends of Performing Arts. We are putting on a play called the Holiday Channel Christmas Movie Wonderthon for the weekend of December 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we are looking to get these advertised on the signage in town, and also to have you post these in your public area in Town Hall. So I'm looking for permission to do that, and for you guys to, well, actually, you guys have to do it all, so I'm looking for you to help us out and do that.
So, do we have a sign application, right?
Um,
It's a, I believe we have one for sign request, right? We can request one.
It's not a sign request.
I think she is asking for the town sign and the sign at the
Done.
transfer station?
Yes.
Yes, if you'd like to approve it, I will attach her information to a sign request and process it.
All right. Do we need a motion to approve a sign request? I mean,
Yes.
you do.
And I'll make a motion, we accept
Okay.
the sign request for the Christmas posters all over the place.
A second.
Jim.
Okay. All right. Did you want to add something?
Nope.
I mean, we're still
Just
discussing.
gonna
All right.
buy these to Ms.
All those in
Kleiner.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have it for you.
Was John and I down there?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, he seconded.
Okay, so, okay, 5-0-0.
Yep.
All right, item number 4.
nope.
Oh, we're still here, I'm sorry.
That was okay. I won't take credit.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Matthew Haley, 60 Pilgrim Drive.
Nathan Blaze, 23 Century Lane.
And we are also here on behalf this time of NHS to also advertise signage in the same way for Wonderthon. We did bring posters as well, hopefully to go outside of this room right now to the town hall corkboard. And also just around town on signage that we are unable to post on. So same deal.
And is this a breakfast?
Yes, Santa's breakfast, December 7th, 8 to 10:30. So
Where is it being held?
it's gonna be at Campbell in the cafeteria.
Okay.
So
I think we'll figure out a way to advertise both the
Yeah.
play and the breakfast on the same signage.
perfect.
so that we can get it up.
Do we
Motion to do it, yeah.
have a second motion?
Yep.
All right. I'll entertain a second motion for Matthew
So
Haley
moved.
for the National Honor
second.
Society. Okay.
Mr.
John or I?
Young,
I
Mr.
don't care.
Lynch. John and Kevin.
Both second.
Yep, we heard it. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 500.
There you go. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Gonna double check.
We'll figure it out, Matt.
Sure, really appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's gonna be fun.
We're glad the haircut's coming back in school.
All
Remember the old
right.
days?
Item 4, Litchfield Veterans Association for Veterans Park.
Usual crew.
You're next.
Come on down. What's up, General?
How are you, Commander? Bobby Jacques, 18 Lock Mill Drive.
That's in here, right?
John Mendonça, 50 Century Lane.
Alan Cloudman, 40 Old Stage.
So we want to give you a kind of an update, a little bit of what we've been doing, like we've done last year. And first of all, say thank you to the board for all your support that you've given us over the last year. First is our, could you bring, is our landscaping trailer, if we could do that? Can we bring it up?
I don't know if I can get that bigger.
You want me to skip and come back to that?
No, I can't. Sorry.
It's over there to the corner there, right?
Let's open it up if you can. Lee, open it.
Make it bigger?
Can I open it?
Word open on top, right?
Open image?
Ka-chuk.
It's taking its sweet time.
Download it.
It's a beautiful landscaping.
Moving right along, right? Our landscaping trailer is complete. Maybe you've seen it around town. Trailer is outfitted with lots of tools and equipment to assist in yard cleanup of veterans who aren't able to support themselves. Arnie Light could not be here. We call him Arnie's Army. He's our crew. He's our operations guy. Our recent beginning, we just completed a yard of an 89-year-old veteran, of a fallen veteran, a widow, and she was kind of involved in the town here. Can I say her name?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I don't see any reason.
Which is
Shirley. Shirley.
Shirley Reed. And it was really, we thought leaves were, as Kim talked about leaves, we must have saw 4 feet of leaves in front of that yard. It was like crazy. But we did it in 2 hours, about 4 of us. And what we do is we find out what people need for support. Arnie goes ahead and meets with them, fills out the forms, and then tells us how many veterans he would need to go ahead and support the effort. It's 20 foot long, as you see up here, the trailer. A lot of different things that we end up finding out what we needed to do and put it together. So with that taking, I met with the principal, the superintendent, along with Robin Corbeil, and talked about some things about maybe getting the town involved, especially the high school seniors and sophomores for their projects, because when I was in Lowell, we did the same thing. Just to let you know, the principal, the superintendent's all bought in, wanted to do that, and we recently recruited a couple of seniors who are going to do their senior projects. And the paperwork is pretty extensive that we filled out, and they had to come up with different things that they had to say, why they were going to do it, what they were going to do for the community, what they're going to do with the veterans. It was pretty nice. So it's the beginning. We started that. We have 2, and you've probably seen it this last Saturday. We thanked the law enforcement. They patrol so we didn't get killed on the highway down in 3A. And we took down all the flags, the park umbrellas, placed the wreath hangers in each of the cemeteries. And the students are very committed, and I think it's going to be a good thing, because it's going to be, not only are they going to be working with them, and their parent was one of them, was with them in their leadership, but it gives them an opportunity to talk about, what they did when they were in the military, what direction they're going to think about going. Maybe they don't want to all go to college. As we see, a lot of people want to go into the trades, and we do scholarships to Campbell High School students for the trades, as well as going in the military. So I think it's going to be a great thing. Plus, we're going to get some of that extra muscle, because we are kind of young guys here at heart, but we're looking for those young people to bring, and hopefully they bring in their parents that are veterans, or especially that we want to say, hey, Dad, when they go home and say, these old guys are out there doing it, maybe you should go ahead and support us for a couple hours, like Bob Larry. He's a young guy over there too. Second is our friends at LMS, Robin Corbeil, the principal of Grantham, and the superintendent, again, supported the wreath ceremony in both this year. Not only are we going to do it in Hillcrest with the LMS students, but also they're going to do Pinecrest on the 4th of December. So that's open to everybody in the town, so they can come see the ceremony. I think it's going to be a great thing to have them do that. The kids, they raise all this money. They help raise the money with their, they have dances throughout the year, support by the parents, and also we kind of do things with them as well. We supported them with their cornhole thing, and we just bought 3 picnic tables for the young people so they have a courtyard within the school. And they built that. We built those up. John and myself and some of the other guys put that together, and now they have classes off as well as just going ahead just in the classroom itself. So it's really been great. So we're looking forward to seeing Carol Light. She's going to be having the Litchfield Middle School band will also perform in the park over there at Pinecrest when we have the wreath laying ceremony. And this year they're going to follow the trailer. So they're going to follow the trailer from LMS. That's what their request is, and we'll have to get with law enforcement like they've done before, and they block off the road so we can get the kids to be over there. They come, it's great. They play all the service songs while they put the wreaths on. Very solemn. I think it's a great thing for people to really undertake and understand what's going on, and it's just been a great relationship that we have with LMS in the community. So our final piece, if you can look up there, this is we said that we would go ahead and finish this project once we had some money, and it does cost quite a bit of money. We're pleased to announce the final piece of the Veterans Park will be completed in the spring. It's the installation of 6 granite war pedestals will be placed along the pathway as you walk down, entering from Albuquerque. Each pedestal is going to be 18 inches wide by 1 foot thick, or 12 inches by 36 inches tall. It's all granite. On the face of the pedestal is a plaque to commemorate each of the United States conflicts. So if you look through these here, you can see this goes from World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq. I worked with John and several of the other people. Right, John? We worked this out as we went through this, and I just kind of go through this thing. If you look at the steel front of it, I'm just going to let John kind of talk to you about Vietnam. Just to tell you, so that the viewers can see it, what it's going to look like. So it's be 15 inches by 9 inches. It's all bronze. So I think it's an educational piece that's going to be good for everyone. Good, John?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting items on these plaques that I didn't even know. Kids today probably doesn't get the education on all these wars. Some don't even know where Vietnam was, so that's a shame, first of all. But anyways, some of the facts we had on the Vietnam War was, went from July of 1965 to the 29th of March 1973. Nearly 3 million boots on the ground. Soldiers went over there. U.S. military personnel supported Vietnam against North Vietnam, China, and Soviet Union. Average age of those served was 19 years old. 58,318 killed in action. 303,441 were wounded. 1,574 are missing in action, and there was 235 Medal of Honor recipients. So every one of these pedestals has very interesting facts that the kids are going to think adults would walk through and observe this, and just very interesting.
Al, you want to add anything to this? So, with that said, there's only 750,000 of us still alive out of all those people that were boots on the ground. So we're kind of fortunate. We pray every day that Agent Orange doesn't take us sometimes, But it's a great. I think it's a great honor for us to go ahead and be able to go ahead and finish that park, and to have people know that not only, as Terry Brand would say, they've married quite a few people over there at the park, and I think Chairman Leary went ahead and sent me a note. Some church group was there and said it was such a great honor for them to be able to go there and have fun with your kids and things. And I think that's what we really wanted to see when that was all about, is to put that park together so people could enjoy it. and also reflect a little bit. And I think when we finish the park with the 6 granite war pedestals, I think that's going to set the tone where people can actually walk through it. We went to GMS the other day, and they did a great tribute to the veterans as well as the LMS. And in the afternoon, I went over there just to measure my wife thinks I spend too much time at the park, I went over there to measure the umbrellas just because we put them in these big pieces. And there was a young family there, and he's on the planning board. And he said, hey, I'm going to take a picture with my 2 kids from my dad, who's can't be around here. He must not be in the local area. So I said, well, I'll take the picture for you. So they all got in the picture, and he felt like he missed something. And I said, I don't think he missed much, especially when we went to Vietnam. We all come back with a special prize, Agent Orange. So it's not a great thing. So anyways, it was great to see young people to get involved with that. And finally, the last plug here for us is on 21 May 2025, we're going to have our 4th annual Litchfield Veterans Golf Classic. So sign up early because we filled it out last year on the 1st of March, and we want to move forward on everything else that we're doing. But I think it's been a great relationship that we have with you all to let us go ahead and finish the park like we wanted to. I don't know if we have to do an updated letter now because it's going to be more monies that we have to put into the thing or not. I don't know. I'm sure you'll tell me that next week. But other than that, anybody have any questions for us?
Are you really finished with the park? Never.
No.
My wife said we'll never be finished with the park.
Finished for this year.
For this year. But next year will be something more that we'll add, but you know what? It's okay. It's whatever.
Remember this.
And I think a great thing is we've established a relationship with the schools. We do give scholarships. We'll get more and more people, younger people, to get involved with this program. And I'm working with, I tell you, the highway department. I call him DPW, Kevin Brown. We want to do Hillcrest and Pinecrest in Albuquerque and pick up all the stuff and put the little sign out there. And we're trying to do that as we get younger people from the school and whatnot to get involved. And I think we need more of that in the town. We have so many resources, so many people that want to do so many things. And I know people argue and fight, and we bitch about everything from the money to everything else. But the bottom line is, hell, we're only here for a little bit. All we want to do is, like we said before, as we sit. Sometimes we ponder the world that we sit in that park, in that pavilion. Is all we want to do is make a difference. You make a difference, and if we can add to that difference, that's what we want to do. So that's all I have. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Just keep something in mind, all good things takes time, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we need to have a motion to accept the pedestals, or?
I'm assuming that the board has no issues with
Okay,
them
I'm just
installing
making
the
sure.
pedestals.
We're good? All right.
They are
Go.
going along the walkway.
They are going to go
Thank
along
you.
the walkway. We will get with you when we get ready to go ahead and have them placed.
That's
The
good.
same people, because, we want to make sure they'll be on a bluestone base like we have the granite over here. And then we'll be able to set them where we want to put them.
Just keep them away from the plow guys.
Oh, that's not a problem. Kevin's the best.
I second that.
You're right. I think
Oh,
we
you
should have
did?
a motion to accept
Thank you
it because
very
it's a
Oh,
gift.
hold
Yeah.
on one second.
You wanna make
So
it?
we should probably.
Hold on one second.
accept.
With a value later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we are gonna have a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay,
Bobby,
a motion to accept the gift.
of the 6 pedestals. Yeah.
I'll second that. Bob made the motion to
Does it
accept the
tell you the
gift, I'll
money?
second
Does
it.
it tell you how much it costs?
To be determined later,
To be determined, to be
Yeah.
determined, Bobby.
just so it's on the
Okay, I
record
won't-
that
I
they
won't
were
say it then.
accepted.
I
Yeah.
can tell you, but it's like
Sure.
almost $14,000.
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Up to $14,000, amended motion.
All right,
Yes,
all right, so any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Okay.
Vote.
AFA, okay, 500.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
thank you.
That's got it.
Wonderful. All right, number 5, ordinance, public demonstrations.
Mr.
Mr. Ray Peoples.
Hello, Raymond.
Good evening, everybody. First, I'd like to thank you for your support and thank the town for the support. I hope to do a good job for you up in Concord. We start tomorrow. 3 days worth of orientation this week, and there's a lot to learn. And I understand there's about 1,000 bills that comes before the legislature every year, so it's going to be drinking from a fire hose for a little while, and kind of an incredible process, but I'm very happy and proud to be there. What I'm coming forward tonight is, back in 2014, I signed an ordinance for public demonstrations. And the Saturday before Election Day, the Litchfield Republican Committee decided to have a sign wave at the corner of Hillcrest and Albuquerque. We were confronted by one of the residents to inquiring about our permit, and which we did not have. We neglected to file for one, didn't really realize we needed one, even though that I participated in the crafting of this ordinance. I never thought it applied to something like a sign wave. We do those routinely at the Litchfield Recycling Center, and they're pretty common practice across the state of New Hampshire and the whole country. So what I wanted to do is just to basically come in here and tell you that we didn't do it on purpose. It was accidental. I was singled out in this whole affair on the video that the resident took of me, and accusing us of these violations, and consequently his calls to the Department of State, Secretary of State, Town Administrator, Police Chief, where I believe just to rabble-rouse and, increase the divisiveness. I just wanted to clear this up. I think the only way to do that is be in front of you guys and make that public knowledge to the town. I have to tell you, I wasn't very Christian-like to the man that was taking the video, because I feel that this is part of his endless game that he's played with this town and the people for years. So, anyway, you guys, I think we may have violated it by not obtaining it. When we signed this originally, I was concerned that it would impede someone's ability to do just that, and unfortunately, that was us. So I don't know how would you like to pursue it? It says any person who fails to obtain a public demonstration permit or violates any term, condition, or restriction of the public demonstration permit, and for which no more stringent penalty is otherwise provided by law, shall be guilty of a violation.
If we say they're guilty of a violation, then everything that goes on down the recycling center will require a permit. And I don't think that's what that's not the spirit of the ordinance to begin with. I think, to me, when I read the ordinance, because I saw the complaint, I went and read it, I felt that was big organization, big organized programs, not two candidates getting out there and just being at a corner saying hi to people as they drive by. I didn't really feel that was
That's not a demonstration, no.
So I don't know.
The original purpose of the permit was basically so that the town was aware of how much law enforcement, public safety, other facilities or whatever that they may need to bring to bear on a particular problem. And I don't believe our sine wave constituted that. There was less than 20 people on the four corners.
I drove by, I didn't see the video, so I drove by it. It was very peaceful. Especially if you're holding your own sign. I mean, if you're holding a sign, this person's bad, like for a president, and this one's good. So we could adjust the ordinance to maybe not have political signs if you're holding your own sign kind of thing. But it wasn't, what I heard when this, and I could be wrong, there was supposed to be a demonstration. When you wrote this around 2014, you were worried about somebody coming in from New York and other parts of the country having a
Westboro
demonstration.
Baptist Church coming to.
And civil unrest could have happened, but this was not that. So I looked at this assembly word on the first line here, so the demonstrations, that sticks out. But I look at, if you're parsing this, it could just be a punctual thing, without limitation to assemblies, gathering, protests. To me, that's all related to demonstrations. It's not an assembly by itself.
Exactly.
For freedom of speech. So I didn't take it that you violated anything. I think either this has to think that the limit, assemblies, gathering, protests, marches all belong to the demonstration, right? So again, I didn't see, we've seen what can happen the last few years on TV where it gets out of control, but that was not it. People were waving. And now I came in around, I'm trying to remember, maybe a little bit before 2. And I
They were
saw
only there for an
Republicans
hour.
and I saw the Democrats. It was great. Nobody was fighting or anything. It was waving, right?
Yep.
So, again, I think it's a punctuality issue, and
Was it,
a
I
punctuation
can see
issue,
it,
rather.
but was it a political type?
It was the Litchfield Republican Town Committee, so it was political. It was a couple of days before election, and of course,
I
We-
didn't see this, I'm saying.
yeah. Well, the perception was that we violated the ordinance, and that may be true, but I'm sitting on vacation, and I'm thinking about this, and I called Kim, and it's like, I wanted to make sure we came in and got that cleared up, because perception becomes reality if you leave it lay long enough. If we violated, we apologize. If we didn't, and that's not the intent of the ordinance, at least it's on record that's not the intent.
Okay.
So it was reported to the police chief. Police chief called me, we discussed it. I didn't see it as a violation of the ordinance as I read the ordinance. And like Selectman Brunel said, I feel if we're going to make a statement that that was a public demonstration, then the many people that are out at the recycling center commonly holding signs, we've violated it multiple times, but we as town staff have never required them to do the permit.
I don't believe it's
So
necessary.
we would be in violation as well, not
This is not a demonstration. It's an assembly of the youth groups are up there today, the Rotary clubs, they're soliciting or supporting us. No,
Yeah, all of these words here, assembly, gathering, protest, that's all for the, what's this word? Sorry.
what about the trucks that go
Demonstration.
through with the flags on them all summer long?
That's what I'm saying, you could say that you can hold your own sign,
They'll
You can just it out of that.
I don't see where you're in violation of anything, honestly. Reading the ordinance, Ray, I don't see that you're in violation of anything.
I agree.
Plus, I'm a very big believer in the Constitution, and there is a little something in there that says you have the right to assemble. So I don't think you did anything wrong. He has a right to his opinion, but I personally don't think you did anything wrong. And as John's point, if you do this, kids have a car wash at the high school, they're gonna need a permit to assemble, maybe Girl Scouts selling brownies, gonna need, it's kinda
Yeah, but
carried
it's
it
not
too
a
far.
demonstration, Bob.
It's not a
Yeah,
demonstration.
all of those
Yeah, I
words
think that's
belong to
key.
demonstration, yeah.
It all
It's
refers
not
to a
assembly.
demonstration,
By itself, assembly
not
is what you.
like that, assembly. no.
Yeah.
And
It's
that was my
punctuation.
opinion of this, is why I didn't even think about this. I didn't organize the particular thing, but I was singled out in it because I signed it. And if you go back and look at the minutes when we did approve this, I had a lot of angst in this one. This is one of those that I went along with it because I thought it was for the best for the town at the time, but I envisioned and said that at the meeting, that I seen this coming to happen, and here it is. But I would just ask for your continued support, and thank you so much. I know you guys are busy. I just wanted to get this up, gone, buried. I'm looking forward to serving the town of Litchfield for the next couple of years at the state, and I'm going to be back to see you more often than not, because one of the things that came out of this election was certainly a mandate for the direction, and the fact that one of the issues that were brought up to me several times was that the state reps weren't in front of you guys enough, in front of the town, to make you aware of things that may impact the town, or, folks in business, whatever the legislation might be. So we're gonna try to be more communicative of those kind of things to you guys.
So really, the only violation you had was you didn't get the permit. But now when I'm looking at the penalties and fines, there's nothing in there that you broke because you didn't, there was no abuse, there was no language, there was no misuse of power, there was no, disrupting orderly conduct. It was
peaceful gathering.
a peaceful gathering.
The fact that it's out there on the Litchfield Taxpayers Association website, the videos are out there and stuff like that. I wanted to make sure that it's in the public's eye. Also, that the Litchfield Taxpayers Association is a business that's owned by that particular resident. It is registered with the state. So,
Well, I liked some of, here's one that, if you attach signs to your house or build the buildings and affix them to stay there for any great of time, it's a violation. Well, we have had a lot of supporters on, I'm gonna say, one street, okay, and two streets, and those signs are all gone now.
Did we receive any other complaints besides the one?
It's all politics.
Absolutely
All
not.
right, this is the same gentleman that tried to take ownership of our town
Yes.
by registering town names as a company.
You got it.
I think it's time we just say, thank you for all the information, but we're gonna ignore you if you're gonna keep on being the way you are. I don't know why.
So this covers parades, and we had the
Parade
group
ordinance. yeah.
get together, and we created a new parade. Maybe we want to amend it and bring it forward with more specifics. I mean, that would be up to the board, but, I don't see any violation, and I look forward to working with you.
My suggestion would be that you roll it into the parade ordinance and have one ordinance that covers all the events.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't take too much. A lot of the language that's in here is already in the parade ordinance. But I don't want to take any more of your time tonight. I just wanted to make sure we had this out in public and it was done and over with.
But it's still a good document in case we
I
do
think-
have a demonstration that goes out of control, right? We
Pardon?
still probably want this as well.
But it
It's
could
just
fit
the
into
word
the event
assemblies.
ordinance.
It's
think that-
demonstration and assembly. There's just, the word assembly is what got you, right? Because you had an assembly.
Yep.
But that assembly means it's part of the demonstration. It's a punctuation thing if we just.
That's all it
But I
is.
also-
It's a verbiage thing.
I also think this ordinance has a clause where the chair can approve it in
Correct.
short notice, where the parade one's a lot more drawn out a little bit, so that maybe the risk trying to combine it together, unless you can classify difference.
And under the last
Yeah, I
paragraph
think there's
allows
a
it.
way to do it. I think we tried to incorporate something in the special events where the
I
chair
think
could
everything is pretty much there. It would take a little tweak, but in that way it cleans up the ordinances. You don't have multiple things that mean multiple meanings. And, I think the event ordinance is, good. And like I said, originally when I was reading it, a lot of it came out of this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In my opinion, it's 10 years old. This is the first time we've ever heard anything about this. So my thinking is that if it ain't broke, fix it. Don't try to fix it.
Again, this was crafted for a very specific threat. And, it made sense at the time, probably still makes sense today, but
It does.
It does.
It does.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And congratulations.
Thank you. I really do. I really am excited. Tomorrow's gonna be a great day. See you soon.
Good luck.
Go home and get some rest, you're gonna need it.
All right. Spirit of Litchfield, request for fireworks display.
We got here. Are they here?
Yeah.
Oh, you brought Doug.
I wasn't sure who was coming with me.
No. He just flew in, so he's happy.
Hi. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Janice Paris, 19 Woodhawk Way.
Hey. Hi, Janice.
Good evening.
Hi.
Who are you?
Nobody.
So we had some inquiries as to whether we were going to have fireworks again this year at the Christmas event. It seemed to be a big hit last year. But everybody knows that we're having some issues with the drought right now. So the gentleman that did the fireworks for us last year, he was supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately he couldn't be. And we just wanted to, he said we should bring it in front of you guys and get permission to do it. But our take, Spirit of Litchfield, is that it would definitely be contingent upon the fire department's decision.
Correct. And obviously, we can't just fire out,
Yeah.
give anything to that. It would be up to what we get for precipitation between now and then, or snowfall, or what have you, so we wouldn't be able to make any decision. We're not against it, but obviously we can't give permission to do it until probably a week, or until we see what the outlook
Depending on the
is.
weather.
Right. And we also don't know whether we will get the money like we did last year. Jason Brennan was going to help me with that, and, you know, we would present it to the town that you can donate, but there is a possibility that we will not be able to light them off at Christmas. The gentleman, I don't remember Andy's last name.
McLeavy.
Andy McLeavy, yeah. He did tell me that he had a place to store if we did purchase, because I said, we don't have a place to store fireworks. So he said he did, so that he would be able to hold on to them for us for next year.
Sounds like Andy.
There's one other catch here too. I don't believe you presented this to the Recreation Commission.
Correct.
Correct,
No.
Chris? No. So typically you should go before the rec, get their buy-in, then come to us.
Oh.
I'm happy to see Chris sitting here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Spirit of Litchfield falls under the Recreation Commission. They're a subcommittee of the rec.
Okay,
So you
I'm
always have to
sorry.
go through
Andy
rec
was the
first.
one that told me to come here.
Yeah, yeah. It's normal practice going forward. Whatever Spirit of Litchfield does has to be blessed by the rec first. before we
Okay.
go any
Public
further.
vote. Public vote, a vote in the public meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, Chris and I had a brief discussion via email, but nothing official.
I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as they're okay.
Yeah, so we'll have a
So-
couple
It's okay.
contingencies. Ones would be, I don't know, when's the next rec meeting?
The 26th.
So they could actually approve it. So I'd make it at where it'd be a contingency upon rec approving, and then there'd have to be a contingency where the, LFD decides if it.
I would just say, yeah, weather
Right.
permitting.
That's what, on the 7th, right?
You have the
Yes.
final
So
call.
we're roughly 3 Saturdays?
Yeah, I think,
3 Saturdays
I think
away.
so.
The way the weather is now, I predict it's gonna snow.
Is the fire permit still suspended?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They are right now, yes.
So
There's nothing going on.
Right.
certainly, if that was the case,
Now, what kind of lead time from permitting for the fire department does he need?
I don't think he needs
He has, well, he has to
much
get a state permit in order to,
That's right,
Okay.
the state
right.
permit.
So he could get a state permit and it would just be, again, subject to our approval, weather conditions permitting.
I don't have a problem with it, doing it that way.
That's the only way you can do it, is the best.
No, I like the process that you've
Yeah.
corrected that.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm fine with, he actually worded it beautifully for a
did?
motion. If you would, any more discussion
Did you
though?
write it
John,
all
anything? John, anything?
I have no problems.
Anybody would like to make a motion?
So move. Do you remember what I said?
I do remember what you said.
Second.
Do you remember what we said back then? You don't remember what we said? It's based on going to rec for approval, and then
Yes.
based on,
Yeah, want me to
Permits
read
from
it?
the
Okay,
fire.
I will make a motion to approve Spirit of Litchfield to hold the fireworks display on December 7th at Dara Park, contingent upon approval from the Recreation Commission and the Litchfield Fire Department, having final approval the day of.
If it snows the day before, we're lucky.
Second.
first, then we have a second.
Second.
Okay.
That presents a whole nother set of problems.
We'll get
It's only a
some by then.
Yeah.
We'll get some.
Less than
rain
12
by
is
then.
It's gonna rain for like 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
None.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No.
You know, actually, I'm gonna abstain.
Oh, you'll
because
abstain.
I'm
Okay, that's a good
on
point.
rec, so I'll abstain from this one.
All right, so we have 4-0-1.
You don't,
Well, it's a gray
No,
area.
you have a vote, you have a vote.
Yeah, but
I would
if
just,
they
I
vote
would, I
no
just wouldn't vote, I just wouldn't vote.
at the rec,
at the
yeah.
rec, 'cause
Okay,
you
I'm a
represent the
yes.
board.
I'm a yes.
Don't
Yeah, I
vote
won't
there,
vote
you
at the
vote
rec.
in here.
5-0-0.
You can vote on both.
If it's in favor.
Yes.
You're in favor, right? So-
Consistent, you can vote on both.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you,
5-0.
Steve.
thank you. 5-0-0, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief.
Hope you get some wet
Welcome
snow or
back,
rain
Chief.
or something.
We're supposed to get some later this week.
All right, we have one more before the police. We have Recreation Commission request from Recreation Expendable Trust Fund to not exceed $15,000.
There's another one that just got out of the sick tank.
Oh, no.
When I walk into,
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have- Cold.
It's hitting everybody.
Week? Whoa. Thank you.
I've had it for 3 weeks, enjoy it. Just put it down, don't touch me.
It's a 2-in-1, yeah.
3 of them.
Tell Fire Department, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday rain.
It's probably not gonna be enough to make a
About
difference.
an inch and a half, it says.
It's not gonna be enough.
That'll wet it.
Good evening, Chris Burns, 4 Center Street, and the head chair of the Litchfield Recreation Commission. So yes, we're seeking the approval of up to $15,000 from the expendable trust fund that was set up for us last year for repairs and maintenance, and this is for repairing and upgrading the current surveillance camera system at the Talent Hall building. Currently, there are some cameras there that haven't worked, I think, since I've been on the Recreation Commission.
Since pre-COVID.
Yeah, they're old, outdated analog technology that hasn't been relevant for about 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, given, the stuff that we've seen and things such as trash being dumped around the building, graffiti written on the side of the wall, as you can see on the pictures that I've attached to this. You see some graffiti that's there now. The discoloration is where Kevin and his crews have cleaned up previous graffiti and even painted over it down at the far end of the building. And then also what we haven't pictured here is things like porta potties being tipped over and all the fees and costs that are associated with all of this. John Brunell put a quote together here to add these cameras onto the town system. So it'll be tied in and available to the police department here and viewable for any incident that might come up. There's, I think it was 5 outdoor cameras and 1 indoor, might be 2 indoor, I think we talked about. And it's the hardware, the associated licensing. What this price, the $9,950 does not include is the cable, materials, and installation labor. So that's why we're requesting up to $15,000 of that expendable trust fund, which I believe was approved for $25,000, and is all still fully available.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Okay. Didn't want to cut anybody off.
You're a chair.
Oh, I know, but still. No, he's the chair. So when I first heard about the cameras, I went, oh, what? Security? Minors? What? So it's not. It's really security, right?
Correct, yeah.
So the 2 inside, is that when, again, I don't know if you need, would children be on it, I guess?
So it would be recording events inside, but, the only people that would have access to it would be, the IT and the IT department and the police.
Okay.
So
But that's my only
it's not
concern.
accessible to anybody.
Okay.
And then, John, these cameras, they don't record 24/7, or do they record 24/7, or
They
they're?
do saving based on events. So if there's nothing
Based on
going on in the
events.
building, there'll be recordings, but they won't save long-term.
Yeah.
So the building's empty, it always records as a loop,
Mhm.
and then about 3 days, it'll start recording if there's been no activity, but the events will be saved.
Because it
And
drops
that's in
off.
case somebody goes in the building, it will have it.
Correct.
Somebody goes in the building, but it could also be used for liability purposes, too.
Yeah. And I'll just build on this, so
That was a good point.
this is the same camera system, we have about 45 cameras around town today. That extends, again, now police would have access, rec would actually have access, depending on what they need, to look at events, do follow-ups if there's something that happens, some vandalism and all that, but ultimately the PD will have access to do investigations, which today they don't, and that's been a challenge for, this year's been kind of tough with tip-overs and different things that are occurring. So
Yep.
this builds off the technology we already have, and we've been leveraging in town for the last almost 7 years now.
Yeah, there is currently a camera on the system down there, 2 cameras down there that are on the communications tower. And they view the parking lot, but there's not much use beyond really the driveway. You can see down there, but not much detail. So my plan would be to have a perimeter of the building, possibly one looking at the driveway itself, so you get a better image of
vehicles coming and going, people coming and going. Also, I'd like to maybe add one for the dumpster view as well, so people illegally dumping. We've had TVs put down there, we've had, you know, a number of other things put down there. So, you know, I think it'll be a big help having these cameras there, and, you know, for the cost, I think they could probably end up paying for themselves with a lot of the damage and stuff we've seen down there.
Yeah, good point. I would suggest signage.
Yeah, we would have to put signage. There's actually signage there now, because there are cameras there, so-called, there is a sign.
Yeah, just, you know, to Kim's point, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, that let people know that you are on camera. If they have an issue with it, then you can leave.
Yeah, we probably should make sure there's something in the building too.
In the building and on the outside as well.
But it's not illegal to record video, it's illegal to record audio.
Correct.
Audio's not being recorded at all.
No audio, so.
In a public building, it's sort of assumed you're being recorded. but-
There is some liability about posting that you're recording and not having any cameras. There is some liability about that, so you gotta be careful about that. You know, with the system that's not working down there, there are signs in
I
and
thought there
around
was a sign
town.
outside that said, camera
might be.
being used, I believe.
There might be. And
It's
the
been-
cameras
I
are up
haven't been
there.
down in a while. I gotta go down there Wednesday to do the cable inspection, so.
Yeah, so there might be some liability with that, so that would be an improvement as well.
But we'd update the signs. If the requirement for signs, we'll make sure the signs are there.
I think nowadays most people assume they're on camera.
Mhm.
And the other side is, when I was here working, my job was to help maintain that down there. Many times we had to go down there and pick up trash, especially on the backside of the building where the sheds were placed, I'll say that. There's a dead spot in there, and that's where we found it all the time. And the dumpster was always full of somebody else's trash.
Yep. Well, we've locked up the dumpster now, so you
Good.
can't lift the lid off and put large items in, but that's not gonna stop people from leaving them around the dumpster.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
You had this problem before.
somebody dropped off a large screen TV.
Yeah.
You know, not
Oh,
even
yeah.
a flat screen, it was a tube, and it sat out there for maybe a day, and then the kids broke the tube, you know, hit the TV and broke the tube, and now we're, and then the porta potty tipping has been a serious problem this year, so at least we could kind of condone some of that.
Can you support these things differently, so they can't tip it?
Yeah, we've had discussion about that, for
Change.
sure.
Because
I mean,
all
they're
the years
getting,
I've been here, I never heard of it tipping the body over.
they're getting,
Recently.
they're all already picked up, they've been picked up, right? I
All
think?
but
Oh, but the
one.
one at Talent?
The ADA.
Yeah.
You gotta leave one down there.
Yeah,
Well, we're swapping out vendors.
yeah.
Oh, you are now? Okay.
Yeah. So that's something we're exploring for next year. Securing them to the ground or fence or somewhere so they can't be tipped over as easily.
Isn't that against the law,
The porta potties?
tipping one over?
Oh,
I don't know.
It's vandalism.
That's what it is.
Probably hurt somebody.
But you gotta catch them after you do it.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
problem.
Right.
And at least a footage of some kids
I'd
tipping
like
it
to not
over,
talk about
even
what
if we
we're
can't
talking about.
identify them.
What's that?
Let the camera, let's not talk about cameras down there right
Put it
now.
on the town
We want,
website.
we want.
No, minors, no.
Live feed right from there.
So the current balance of the expendable trust is $25,426.78. I have suggested to all of the commissions that we are putting together the warrant article list. And so if there are any requests to add to any expendable trusts or any other type of warrant article, to please submit it to me as soon as possible. We hope to have somewhat of a final list for your next meeting next Monday.
That building needs some love on the outside.
It does.
We used to paint that building when I was here. I had the Valley Street contractors, we used to call them. And I used to have them come in and paint certain things. They painted the town hall once, okay, and painted other stuff, but they stopped that program of the boys coming out to be helpful. I was trying to teach them some trades. A professional painter was a lot of help. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yep.
But we don't have that program.
It'd be nice to have something like that for sure.
Yeah. I had them doing the cemeteries and everything for us. It was good.
I'll make a motion
Thank
to
you.
approve the Recreation Commission to spend up to, or not to exceed $15,000 for security camera equipment from the Recreation Expendable Trust Fund.
I have a first, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
First and second. Any other discussion?
So is the other 5,000 for install?
Install and wire.
It's a rough estimate because we need to know what the wire's gonna cost to pull, because we can pull all the old copper out of there.
Just for the people asking at home, I figured that's what it was, but.
Yeah, I suspect it'll be south of 15, it's just,
Yep.
I will know more on Wednesday.
That's it.
All right. All right, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Uh,
I abstained.
No,
I abstained in the rec
abstained.
meeting, so.
You
I'm
have to
gonna-
stay consistent, you're a yes.
I abstained in that meeting, I'll vote yes on
Abstained.
this one, but the rec also approved it, so it's a yes from the recreation group.
Okay,
It's al-
so,
it's already been approved by the rec.
so
The minutes are there.
4-0-1.
501, I believe. from the rec.
Yep, the minutes are there for you.
John will abstain.
The minutes are on the portal.
Thanks.
Very good.
All set?
Great,
Thank you.
nice to see you again.
Of course, I will be at Town Hall on Wednesday,
Hi.
evening, wanting some time to take.
Talent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I still have access,
Let me know what time I can, maybe meet you down there
but
too.
I'll let you know.
Locations and
I'll
stuff.
find out tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Moving along. At
Yeah,
number 8 of
we're at number
18.
8, and 8.5, because we have to do the one from, the added one. All right, Litchfield Police Department, Chief Jones, personnel updates and police facility. Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
Evening, how are you?
How are you?
So we'll
Let's see,
start
let
with the
me-
first thing. I believe you have the letter regarding Captain Tessier. He's
Yep.
been accepted to the FBI National Academy. He will be the first, I'm not going to read the letter in its entirety, but he'll be the first member of the Litchfield Police Department to attend while they're working for the Litchfield Police Department. I attended back in 2012. It's a 10-week school. Fortunately for us, there's no cost to the town, or very little cost to the town. We'll have to send him in his car and give him gas to get back and forth. But other than that, the housing, the food, the training, everything is paid for. And it really is an amazing experience. In my class, there were 27 countries represented, plus the U.S., about 267 attendees. And you get college-level classes. And the big thing is the networking. When you're done, you can reach out and touch people around the world and say, hey, have you ever seen this, or what have you done about this? And it's just a great experience. So I'm very happy for Captain Tessier. We'll obviously miss him while he's gone for 10 weeks, but it'll give our sergeants a chance to step up and look at the administrative side of life. But very proud of him, very excited for him. I think the statistic that I heard is, when I went, is less than 0.5% of all law enforcement officers get to go. It's the most prestigious command school in the world. So,
Where is it held, in Washington?
in Quantico, right at the FBI Academy, which is in Quantico on the Marine base. So it's not easy to get into. It's even when you're attending, it takes a while to get from the first gate to.
Well, he passed the test to get in.
Well, yeah, so the FBI will do it. Did they do your background? Yes.
I had to fill out all the paperwork.
Yeah, no, so he'll go through,
I know.
there's physical testing, he'll have to go through a complete FBI background, which, we'll see how that works out. But
You did put the board as your personal reference, right?
So we should be good with that, though.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, wonderful.
Yep, you've been here a while, I'm glad you're taking it.
Yeah.
You're new.
It's great.
Officer Trevor Roach graduated from the police academy on Friday.
Good.
So he started or continued his field training starting today. So it'll be, a matter of weeks.
Couple weeks, yeah.
Before he'll be out on his own and able to fill a spot. He did win an academic award and received a very limited scholarship, that's what I'm looking for, to UNH, because he did so on the police academy. So we're very happy to have him, very proud of him. He's doing an outstanding job so far, and he did very well in the police academy, all the reports that we get back. And in fact, I think halfway through the academy, he had the highest GPA in the class. I don't know where he shook at the end, but it was up, up there, and obviously he won the scholarship, so did very well. Month and a half, 2 months ago, we had an audit by the state, by the New Hampshire Police Standards and Training Commission, because I'm a new chief here. So they do that, they come in once the new chief has been in for a few months and review what the department's doing. Most of it is historical, and so the only things that they saw that they had a problem with have been changed since Dennis and I have taken over. So they were very happy with the changes we had made, and we just have to keep doing what we're doing. We still have 2 openings. Again, we're going at breakneck pace to get people in. We still have 2 openings, one for the part-time SRO position, the other for the another officer position. We just changed how we're advertising those jobs a little bit. So we're hoping to get some feedback on those. We do have applications coming in, but at this point, and I shouldn't say at this point, we want to be very selective. You're better off having an empty slot than hiring somebody that's not the perfect fit. The way I always say it is, we're going to be marrying this person for potentially 25, 30 years. So you want to make sure that you're getting the best person you can get. So, there are times, I'm sorry?
Have you been here? How long have you been employed for Litchfield?
January.
It'll be 1 year? And what was the force when you started?
7.
How many? 7? And what are you up to now?
12.
Nice.
So yeah, so we're moving along, and I think we have good quality people, as evidenced by Trevor, and we brought some people back, and we've got some people who are certified, and so yeah, things are going great as far as that's concerned, and so we'll keep that going. 2 officers are going to an ALICE training in January, which it's a school specifically for dealing with active threats, specifically at schools. It's probably the most used training. We adapted a little bit here to fit Litchfield, but it's nice to have the SRO as one of the persons who's going, and then we have another officer who's interested in going. So, and then it'll help us ramp up our exercises and our trainings within the school. So very excited about that.
Nice.
2 things from a community standpoint, just wanted to put it out there. When I was in another department, we had a local, what was called the Business School Roundtable. And it was all the movers and shakers from town working with the school to help specifically high school seniors, but really anybody in high school, move from being a student to the real world, if you will. So it's getting them either into college, into a trade school, or directly into the job world. And it was the most action-oriented group I've ever been a part of, so I wanted to bring that here. I'm actually going to one of their meetings in my old town in December, and I'm probably going to be bringing one of the assistant principals with me from the high school specifically, and so we're going to bring that here. So at some point I'll be making a public plea for anybody who'd be interested in being a part of that, to reach out and let us know. But again, I'll put something out as that gets a little bit closer. Also, after the first of the year, we'll be publicizing our first Citizens Police Academy. It'll be a 10-week program, an hour and a half to 2 hours per week in the evening for people to come in and see what we do. And really, it's a bridge to the community. I want the people to learn. I want them to have a good time, but really, it's an opportunity for people to see us as people and for us to make bridges with the community. So again, there'll be more to follow on that, but I just want to get out while I have everybody's ear. And now on to the building. So wanted to get some direction from you. I think we've talked about it a little bit. We actually just got an updated plan to match a little bit more what we're looking for. We had to move a couple of interior walls, nothing major, but just make it a little more usable. But we really want to get direction with the board and see if we're going to be looking at working towards getting a bond for this go-around, for this vote in March, or if we're going to postpone another year. I guess we can just start with that and get some direction.
So we have 2 approaches. There's a legal counsel at Divine Willamette that the town has used in the past for setting up of bonds. And then, of course, there's the bond bank. Either if we start to initiate these conversations, it's obviously a lot of work. There's also very limited time if we're looking at town meeting. So really, in order to even start the conversations on the financing of a bond. We were looking for some feedback from the selectmen on this is a possible warrant article for this March.
So the SIP hasn't weighed in yet, but where it is today, because we still have a couple more meetings, is it is marked as urgent on there, right? And we are collecting impact fees anyway, all along, right? So I just want to let you know. So SIP hasn't ranked it, but it was ranked urgent. I don't see that moving, but I'm only one person on that team. So we're preempting that, right? But we have a time constraint here of trying to get bond, capital going, right?
Right, so the SIP plan is set to be finalized on the 22nd. We are waiting for information from the school facilities and the school board to finalize that SIP plan. Our understanding is, and Joan McKibben and I spoke this afternoon, we hope that it will be finalized at that meeting because we will need to post it that Friday evening in order to meet the 10-day requirement for a public hearing, which has to occur at the planning board. And then Michael Croto, the chair of planning, would bring that to you on your December 9th meeting. Unfortunately, that's a little too late for us to get the warrant article together if we need to explore bonding. So if we need to do that, the chief and I need to start reaching out immediately.
Would it hurt? I don't see how it hurts to try to find bonding now and just see where it goes. I mean, I was on the board when this was a topic, when it was already in a disastrous shape as it was and with a need. It got pushed off 5 years. Here we are 5 years later. It was already in drastic need back then. I think if we can get it to the voters, let the voters make a decision, I think we should do it. And this has been going, I know the chief's been working on it for a year. Since he came on board, this is one of his tasks. I don't know why, I don't think it's a good idea to wait another year, but.
I would agree with you.
Same.
Just, again, everybody knows I work in the station every day. I'm in and out of there every day. It's not efficient. There's not a lot of room. If you ever saw my closet, which has spares in it, you can't even walk in it. So, I mean, it's not conducive. Dispatch is not conducive just for the one dispatcher we have today. Squad room, everyone's stacked up on each other. It's just, again, there's a lot of safety issues. I think it's time for the voters to take a look at it and let them weigh into it.
But your occupancy load has changed.
What's that?
Your occupancy load has changed.
Oh, drastically. But it changed back in 2004,
That's one of the bigger
too.
problems there.
It was changed in 2004 also, so it's not like it's been a screaming need since, well, I think you wrote it up in your narrative. I think it was Chief Ivas that said the building was already too small when they moved into it.
You know, it was built in 97, 1999 was the first time somebody documented that it was too small.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think things, and also policing standards changed too, and that's another driver too.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, I'll describe his scene, and I'm sure people will be horrified by it, but, I think we've heard about the kitchen being used for a multitask. I've walked in there many times when they're servicing their weapons and eating their lunch, right, because they have no other place to do it. And it's not safe. So, it's time that we address the problem. And the voters, if the voters are not in support of it, they're not in support of it, and I can appreciate that, but I think we also did a fairly good job letting voters know that we started with the fire station, because that was the immediate need. We had truck issues, we had building, we had no way of buying stuff to put in the old station. We had to address that one first, and we were gonna come back when it was the right time. And there's never a right time, obviously, but we're at a capacity problem.
And we're also, as I was asking earlier, at full staffing or near at full staffing. The town's continuing to grow, which means the staff is gonna grow eventually as well.
It is growing no matter what, from 7 to 17. in the last year. Prior to that, you had ups and downs all the time.
I agree with you too, John, that we can't wait till December 9th before we start looking at bonding, because that's
We gotta start
3
looking
weeks
now.
away.
I mean, I'm sure we're not 100% comfortable with the estimates we have today, but, I mean, I've seen some of them in the previous, they seem to be fairly, really close. I just don't understand, I don't see why we should wait on the bond. We should probably at least figure that out so that we have a warrant ready if this board decides to go forward with it.
You have an estimate on this cost to build this?
Yeah, it's in the letter.
I
It's in the
missed it.
CIP letter.
5 point something.
5.6.
Yeah, it's
5.6.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't click that page,
Yeah.
sorry.
So if we agree to this, you go out and find funding. It doesn't mean we can still decide later on the warrant article, we're not locked into that.
So, again, I mean, you have very limited time. We submit, we need to provide the budget committee with a full warrant, list of warrant articles
December.
by the 16th, because their next meeting is the 19th, so they need to get their agenda out. And, you know, unfortunately, there are vacations. I'm on vacation from December 6th until the 15th. And I know the chief has a vacation, so the chief and I really need to get on this tomorrow if you are moving forward, which I wholeheartedly support Mr. Brunel's comments.
I agree.
If the board's just comfortable with making a motion for us to explore the bonding, we'll do that.
We'll make a motion to allow the town administrator and the police chief to explore bonding for a potential new fire.
I'll second it.
First and a second. Any other discussion?
Third.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Third, okay. Any other discussion?
Use a fifth.
No, everybody's good? All right. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No,
So
and-
on a related topic, but not directly to the warrant article,
Take the win.
I don't know at what point
Take the
we.
wig and run.
Take the win.
Yeah, well, I just want to put it out there. So one of the things we talked about was possibly putting a committee together, and I don't know if you want to weigh in on that or just let us do it, or if anybody on the board would be interested in being a part of it. And again, just a building committee. And then the other piece is, and again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but are we looking at this as a new job to put out to bid, or is this a continuation of the fire department, which was built by Aikman Construction? My understanding is, the fire department, and I think the fire chief is still here, has told me that they were exceedingly happy, and even after the building was out of warranty, they were still coming and fixing things. They were the ones who built that building. They know where all the pipes are underground. They know how the building connects. So, you know, is this part of just a continuation of the same building so we could,
Can't answer that question yet, because it's a new building attached to another building, so there's a gray area there.
But
I think you need to bid.
I think you do need to bid it, and I think the previous architect of the previous building, building company should be part of the
They
bidding
will be bidding.
process.
I guarantee it.
You got a gentleman sitting right behind you over there that might be a good person to be on a building committee. He's got experience.
We spoke.
we may have spoke already.
I think I told him to go
I
talk
think
to
he's
you.
We all
new
told
to
him to go
this
talk to
too.
you.
Yep.
I mean, I served on the fire one, I would
He was part
love
of
to
this.
serve on the police one too.
And I wanna say, I was on this building committee when they did this. Gentlemen too, okay? And of course, we were told we built it too small, yeah. Because the taxpayers took the basement out for a lot of stuff we would have put down there.
Right.
They took that out, and that really affected everything. So let's see what happens. I think we should go for it.
The one question I'll ask you is, we do have a history in this town of building a building that within a couple of years is too small.
So, right, so.
To know that this is gonna be the right building for the town.
Right, so even if we add 4 to 5 bodies, right, it takes 5 bodies to fill one 24-hour shift. So even if we had 5 people, it's going to go to patrol.
It won't be in it.
So it's not going to be, there's gonna be no more command staff, there's gonna be no more detectives. In fact, the detective's office would be big enough to have 2 detectives if we ever got to that point. If we ever got to a 4th sergeant, the sergeant's office is big enough to have that 4th sergeant. But, I mean, just adding, if we had 5 people, which would be huge percentage-wise, that's just 1 more person per shift. So now all we have to think about are locker rooms, things like that, and all of those things are well thought out. We will not have a problem. The evidence room is big enough, the IT room is big enough, dispatch is big enough. All of that is planning for the future. So I can't imagine.
Are you sure records is big enough?
Got that point.
Most of our liquor's electronic, luckily, so it's not too bad.
You don't have to have paper? You don't need hard copies?
Just active cases, I think, is the only we keep paper on, right?
You guys don't use paper anymore?
We try to minimize it.
Oh boy, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
And no basement in this design, correct?
There's no basement, so nobody can cut the basement out. We already cut it out.
Yeah, I mean, the design is, if you remember the fire station when it was originally a safety complex, it's the same footprint.
Yep.
I know the layout interior is a little different based on the current standards, but the footprint's the same. I mean, it's a huge change for them if we are successful in getting it built.
Well, technology is changing, so you don't need the paper like we used to live with.
That's a small part of it, but yeah.
That's a big part of it when you figure the storage.
The important thing is when you go to the taxpayers to ask for this kind of project, that you get it right.
Yep.
Absolutely get it right.
Okay.
Okay, and then last thing,
Wow, he's pushing it.
we had a local paving company reach out to us today and said that they would like to pave our shooting range. And so they are ready to do it on Thursday, which is why it was put on the agenda at the last minute. I believe you have the map of the area. They put a value, it's not built to the same standards as a roadway, and it really was laid out already. It's all, already in place, so there's not a whole lot of prep work that has to be done, so the value is less than it would be if it was a main roadway. So obviously, that just, it makes it easier for us to permanently mark it, to keep us out of the mud. We like to be able to shoot in the rain and the snow, so we need to train like we're gonna be out in the real world, so having that pavement there just keeps us a little bit cleaner, makes cleanup easier, keeps us from getting stuck and all of
Make sure
those
you got a
things.
place to put the snow.
So that was a good question. Hate to put the road agent on the spot, but that question was raised later this afternoon.
I imagine.
I assume there wouldn't be an issue in plowing the area.
It will not.
Let you know.
Well, if the empty trees in a way, he has the capability.
Well, the cars go down there now.
Is there a
and the
reason why it
range
looks like
itself
a
is
witch's
long.
foot?
It's just wide,
Yes.
8 feet wide, right?
It's about 20 feet wide.
Yeah, and you're not worried about plowing the range part of it, you just wanna be able to plow to get where you park your car to get into there, right?
You gotta-
The range would also need to be if we plan on using it
Okay.
in the
You're
winter.
gonna have to walk in it.
Next meeting, I'm coming back to ask for a plow truck, so we can talk about that then.
Borrow fires.
Only if they stay in that parking lot.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the gift from Continental Paving of the estimated value of $10,000 for the paving of the police fire range at 151
Access to the
Hillcrest
fire range.
Road.
We'll second it.
So we accepted the gift and we're allowing the paving.
John's.
Yeah, I have the first motion. Yeah, I still have a discussion though, but yeah, so I have a first and a second.
Yep.
All right, so the 2 RSAs, I just want to make sure we're covered. The first one is to acknowledge
The gift.
the gift from who, which was in the motion, right?
Correct.
And the second part is we accept it. It's 2 different RSAs, right? They're combined, so I just want to
Yep.
point that out. Okay,
You did good, Ken.
just making sure.
And then the third
Following
one
the
is
law,
just,
you
and
know?
the third one's just the procedure for us to
You
accept,
detailed it.
allow it to actually be paved, because it's our problem.
All right, so any more discussion?
I have a separate question. With the increase in residents owning firearms, do you guys do any safety courses or safety classes?
We do not currently do any safety course or class.
Would be a good idea.
Currently.
maybe.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know what liability would incur. It's something I'd be happy to look at. I don't know what, because we have people in-house who are trained at the academy standard for police officers, but I don't know if there's a different standard.
It's not the same.
There's, yeah, so it's something I'd be happy to look at, and typically, like I said, I want to do a citizens police academy. That is something that we usually do, is talk about gun safety, just as part of that. We don't certify anything, but we, just to be helpful and safety in mind, we do that as part of the class.
Nice.
I have one more then. Not that we have a lot of donations, but nothing on counting wise or bookkeeping. Does this go on a report? I don't know if this increases value or something, and we have to report it on our taxes for the town, or is it just recorded in a report that we had a donation? How does this, is there any bookkeeping exercises what I'm asking?
No, the firing range is not an asset listed.
It's not. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we didn't leave that out if that was something else we had to do. Okay. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
I want you to make this the boot range.
You like the drawing?
Oh, I got the drawing.
Anything else up?
It's like a woman's leg and a witch's
Or
shoe.
Florida, one of the two.
Yeah.
Looks like Florida. It's a little skinny on the peninsula.
I think we can put like a boot room.
Sicily?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for everything.
Right.
This would be a Halloween range for everybody.
All right, item 10. Albuquerque Avenue from Page Road to Pinecrest Road improvements.
Is that 10 or 9?
Oh, did I miss 9? Sorry, I had something.
9.
Let's do 9. Transportation.
Yep, still come up.
Yep. Transportation, alternative program, letter of interest, Pinecrest sidewalk.
Yeah, I remember that one. Somebody talked to me about it.
So, the TAP program round 5 is now open. And this is a project that has been supported in the past and submitted in the past a couple times. So we would like to have your permission to submit a letter of interest to the state in submitting a project, the same project. This is a sidewalk that would link from the existing bike path down Pinecrest to our schools. The letter's due December 6th, and then the road agent and I would have to attend a meeting in January with a final project to be submitted to the department by January 24th of 2025. And the road agent is here, he can speak to, he's getting quotes.
I've already reached out to our local contractor, asked them to, we had plans from 2002 when Pinecrest was redone, so we have plans already on file of a sidewalk. I wanted to make it a bike path, but we don't have enough room in the right-of-way for 8 feet, so it'll have to be a 5-foot sidewalk. There are some technical things we might have to work around, some drainage issues, some telephone poles, but I believe our contractor's up to the task. I haven't received a quote from them yet. I'm expecting it anytime. They know that we're kind of, speeding this along. It's more of a pricing more so than a quote. At this point now, we just need a letter of interest to say that we're interested in, putting this forward. So that's where we're at.
So question, didn't we go to the voters on the sidewalk before and they turned it down?
We went to the voters we asked them if they were interested. I think it was an interest question.
I thought there was no. They were not interested in putting a sidewalk in.
No,
we
did the grant and that didn't go through. That wasn't approved.
The initial grant was not approved, so this is another time at it.
Yeah, so this is
A different round.
Different
Yeah.
round. So it would connect all three schools. I thought the one that was rejected was, it might have been Hillcrest, but maybe not. Maybe it was Pinecrest.
No, it was Pinecrest.
That was Pinecrest, yeah.
Always been Pinecrest that I know of.
And it's mostly just because the two schools would connect the schools to the bike path.
So with the
It's a
tap,
state road.
with the tap, it would be 80, a tap is 80/20. It's 80% funding, grant funding,
20% town.
20% town.
Yep.
So I did not see any warrant articles
Wasn't it- I
asking
think
for
it's
the
2000.
20%.
Oh, I don't remember that. Wasn't it 2000? I think it's 2013.
Got a better memory than I.
Huh?
I'll look at
Before my
warrant
time.
articles.
Yeah, me too.
No, I don't have a better memory. I just know how to search faster than most people. Hang
That was
on.
back
I
when
just found the warrants from 2013. That's why I was curious.
If it's 2013, then no means no and apply. We could have another warrant article. But that,
I only asked because I was
I
just
don't
curious.
think we'll apply in this.
So here's a warrant from 2013. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $12,500 for the purpose of developing of engineering, design plans, and cost of a sidewalk on Pinecrest to connect the bike path on Albuquerque with LMS, so that the construction cost and estimate would be $300,000, can be brought forward in 2014 annual meeting. And I thought that wouldn't fail. I haven't found the actual vote yet, so.
but we have the engineering, so that's odd.
Yeah, we have engineering from 2002.
2002, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
this was.
Oh, and-
This is 2013, so now,
oh.
let me see if I can find the actual vote.
But didn't NRPC provide the engineer for this? Did that?
I didn't see anything from NRPC.
No.
I have
Where'd it come
some plans from back in 2002 when they did the whole thing over.
We did. We tried this before with NRPC like 2 years ago, and it came in like second or third.
Yes.
Yes, NRPC submitted the actual letter of interest last round.
Okay.
Yes, that
Did
was
it-
right
but
after I
did
joined the
it-
town.
Did it have the quote in it? The estimate?
Yeah, at a $800,000 quote.
Yeah.
Okay. So if 20% is what you're saying, if it's a match, right? So that
Yes.
would have to be,
Well, we'd have to see if we can,
yeah, that's the big
Make
thing
that
I hear
happen,
them
that's the
complain about.
magic.
The voters want it, but then the town can't raise the match. That's like, I hear that from Milford a lot, actually.
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
Yeah.
But that is common when applying
Yep.
for state, that you are granted the acceptance
And all of a
of the
sudden you go-
grant
you go to the next step.
contingent on the town's raising of
And
its
that's what they do. They do
20%.
all this work and then the town,
That's how it always is. You're trying to get a grant, but if you get blessed, if you get most of it paid for, the town still will go for it. That's what we're showing. And if we get the numbers in there, we see where it all goes. You got the drawings going back, to I think Jack did those, or somebody back in the day.
that was pre-Jack.
Huh? It was Jack, right?
No, it was pre-Jack. That was,
Roland.
Not
Oh,
really,
no,
no,
Jerry.
Jerry DeCosta.
DeCosta, yeah.
Jerry, correct.
Yeah, I haven't found the vote yet, sorry.
But the process is,
2000.
let's get it out there to see if we can get it.
Well, that's the point, is that the grant is now, let's show interest.
Let's show
We'll get some
interest and
numbers,
get
we'll
it.
put it
That's what
up
we
there,
think we
and,
do.
and if we need a 20%, then we ask the voters. If they say no, they say no.
That's right.
I mean,
I think if it's that long ago, I don't think no mean no still applies.
well, that was to do the initial engineering drawings anyway, right?
I only raised it to say that we already went there once and the voters said, I thought the
yeah,
voters
I
said
get it.
no, and
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, I think we should bring it forward if it's.
Things change.
Grant funded.
Yeah.
I think John's right. I think it did fail, but the warrant article asked that the engineering, to explore through the engineering, right? It's already done at this point.
Yep.
It's a different question.
Mhm.
Yeah. And again, this is coming from safe streets as being pushed by the government.
Yeah.
They want you to walk everywhere and be safe, right? And no deaths.
like I said, I wanted a bike path, I wanted an 8-footer, but we just can't squeeze it in.
Because then you could plow it nice and easily.
Well, it would be a lot easier to maintain, a lot easier to
Especially-
ride 2 bikes down it and,
Bikes and kids walking at the same time.
but we just don't have the right of way. We'd have to get,
Eminent domain.
we'd have to ask everybody for, easement to sign off on, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
It looks like it failed. It's not,
Did
it's
everybody
not
go
in the
one or
articles.
two?
of
That's all you need is
That
one.
would kill
One
it.
throws
If
it,
it's
right?
not there.
Goes 8 feet to 5, and then
Then back out.
that bridge go
So it
over
did,
it.
so it did fail in 2013, it looks like,
Right.
For the study?
for the, whatever that was.
20%.
Yeah.
Oh, the match. Oh,
I remember this going through once.
that's 10 years ago.
Yep. Miles
Yeah,
is
that was,
taking a bite
that
of
was
it.
pre my time. I,
All
And it
right,
makes, I mean, a sidewalk does make sense. I mean, it will connect the town and it will get, and it gives pathlets way to all the schools, which is something
Right.
that we've always wanted anyway, so we should definitely bring it forward.
Okay.
well, at least we'll send a letter of interest and see what we get for a price and bring it forward and see how that works out.
We'll come back to you prior to the final grant submission.
so do you need a motion to do this, or would you like a motion to do this? I had this down as that maybe a motion was needed, but
I don't believe we do.
do you want a motion or no?
I think we need a
An
motion
updated
for the, I think
quotes?
we need a motion
I
for
think-
the grant, we just need your blessing, you know.
Right, I think we just need your blessing for the letter of interest. I think the motion would be required when we have the grant application ready for submittal.
All right,
Okay.
At that time, we'd have
blessed, everybody
dollars.
says blessed, blessed.
I support your request.
All right,
Thank you.
let's see, now what about 10, Albuquerque Ave from Page Road to Pinecrest improvements?
That's you.
Oh, that one? Oh, that was, no, mine was more the, this was from, all of Albuquerque. We looked at,
No, this only came from Pinecrest down.
so this, the one we looked at, was that what came back from the engineering, what they recommended?
Yeah, NRPC,
This is J-Main.
February of 23.
Yeah, so this, so the traffic calming measures, but nobody wanted that. It's really signage and painting on the road, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
help with what's going on in Albuquerque, which
there was-
apparently
there
was
was-
a horrible accident. That town, I saw the pole.
Too many.
What,
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
want to know in public because it's a private thing, but,
Town
So-
and, Albuquerque.
right near the school,
How
yeah.
many accidents have we had of people blowing the stop sign and crossing over Albuquerque this year? 3?
At least two. At least two. We had one.
We've had at least 6 accidents, well,
That's the guy who knows.
Yours, Scott?
So since January 23, now we only looked at because we thought we were looking specifically from Page to Pinecrest. Since January 23, we've had 11 accidents
11?
in that total stretch. Now, I can't promise that all of them were people blowing signs or, whatever, but I know there's been a couple of those for sure. So on average, it's once every other month.
So how many do we have? 13, you said?
11.
11?
All
We're
right,
getting
so,
better those 8 and 23 and 3 so far this year.
Yeah, we don't
Since I
know.
took over, they've gone way down.
Yeah,
That's all
I
I'm
mean, you
saying.
think about from Page to Albuquerque, there's no stop signs there. It's coming off of like Talent out to Albuquerque. is the problem. In the case of the accident that happened the other day at Talent, were they crossing over Albuquerque or
They
they
were
lose control?
crossing, my understanding is the,
eastbound.
didn't stop, was distracted.
And just drove through the stop sign?
Ran into a truck which drove into the pole
Yes,
that
I saw
holds the
pictures,
school
yeah,
lights.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So that's just distracted driving,
But it was right,
period,
it was
yeah.
distracted, so.
Yeah, but I kind of like, last year you talked about the signs, stop signs that have the flashing,
Right,
especially like Century, where I don't know how people can miss that, or anything along Albuquerque, I think would be nice if they had.
All right, so,
Major intersections out
so
there.
to that point, we had a report done by NRPC, and I have reservations on the entire report. There's certain things about it that I can talk to, and I know Kate Stevens kind of ran with this at the beginning. I talked about 2.5 hours with Kate on this report when it first came out. Our stop signs are all MUTCD compliant. Actually, some of them at Hillcrest are oversized. The report wanted 48-inch by 48-inch signs, which are billboards. It's a half a sheet of plywood. That's, you know what I mean? If anything, I would say that would be more of a
Distraction.
a distraction, a blockage than anything. But all of our signage, right up to the point where, we've gone out and I've put up, where you can drive down, you can see the reflective piping that I put down the sign so it's even more visible.
that's good.
All the stop signs, we have stop ahead on the ground, we have stop ahead signs. I don't believe it's a stop, it's a signage issue. Chief Jones and I have spoken about this. It's people disregarding the stop signs. We have 2 intersections in town that are very visible. So when they pull up to the stop, they see nothing to the right, nothing to the left, nothing forward, and they drive through. Does it cause accidents? Sometimes. Sometimes people are distracted and drive through. But I don't think it's a signage issue. I did price out the lit up signs that are solar, and they're about $1,400 to $1,800 a piece. I think we came in at just over $14,000 to do our 2 intersections. For that's just those 2 intersections, not Century, not Page, not, none of the rest. And that's doing the stop signs and then doing the stop ahead signs. I'm not opposed to it. You know what I mean? If we wanted to do that, I have a $1,500 sign budget, so we'd have to come up with $15,000 for that.
The biggest.
There's talk in this report about speed bumps, about speed lifts, about speed intersections. I'm so against that for 100 different reasons, including my plow trucks. What else did they get into?
The paint on the street to make the roads thinner.
Something,
I
I can't even conceive of taking a 12-foot lane and pushing it down to 10 feet and then having cars closer together in the center. My trucks, I went out and measured it today, my large trucks are 9 feet tire to tire, and that's not counting mirrors and plows on the side or things hanging off the side. If you have 2 of them going different directions, you'll be slapping mirrors. I can't conceive that that's a good idea.
I'm not saying this report has to be what happens.
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not,
thinking
yeah.
signage and paint. You can update the paint.
I
It's a
will
little,
say-
that's about it.
I will have to say, it's the location of the signs in most cases, and I'll bring one up, it's Century and Albuquerque. As you're coming from Pearson, I believe, the other one that goes around. Right?
Coming east.
Right, if you're heading west, okay?
Heading west.
Coming to Albuquerque.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, it's off,
It's coming from Brenton.
Brenton to here. That stop sign here is hard to see unless you're right up on it because of the location. So you gotta do some brush clearing or you gotta relocate it.
Okay, so Kevin.
I'm just saying, I'm just bringing this
So
up.
let me explain this, because Chief Jones had a discussion about this intersection. The road comes out and it flares out,
I know.
all right? So the sign is within 6 feet of asphalt, where it's supposed to be. It's actually about 2 feet off asphalt. It's between 5 and 7 feet high, which is MUTCD
I
standards. The bush that's covering it is in someone's property. It's not mine, it's not yours, it's theirs. So can we go and talk to them and ask if we can cut their bush back? Absolutely, we can. Do I have a right to cut it? No, I don't have a right to cut it. I don't, other than cutting the flare out of the road and making the road thinner and moving the sign in, that's what we have. Something?
If you take the flare out, now you get people turning into Century, coming over the line to come in.
That's correct.
They're driving over the dirt, and then it looks like the beginning of Cutler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People cutting across and driving and making it a divot and.
When does it become the driver's responsibility? You're coming to an end of a road that you know there's gonna be, you're going to a main intersection, there's a stop.
There's a big white stop bar, there's a stop ahead sign, there's stop on the road.
I know.
How much can I,
No, there's nothing we can do, but they go right over that stop line before they start stopping. You're like, are they gonna even stop,
To
you
me,
know?
it's a visibility factor on that one, because you're driving, you don't see it till you're about 50 feet to the road, then you see it, because that bush is in the way.
I mean,
the
it
bush
just,
is the problem.
I could name 7 different, coming up Albuquerque to Nessenkeg, people pulling out of Nessenkeg trying to go north. You're in Fair because it's on a corner. I can't do anything about that. I've pushed that back as far as I can push it. Same as you're coming down southbound to Pinecrest from down Albuquerque, all on Moran's land on the right-hand side. I cut that back as far as legally we can go, probably even a little further. So.
Shouldn't say that.
No, he gave me permission to cut it back. But you know what I'm saying, it's how much, like you said, how much can we control? I can only put out, I put more reflective, I put new signs up, I'm screaming, stop. And people decide that they're gonna drive through.
I think the biggest problem you have is a lot of times it's a loose nut behind the wheel.
You can't say that.
I just did.
So we keep seeing it on social media about people going through stop signs, so do you have a sign budget, or do we have to ask warrant article? If maybe they don't want it, we have to have a discussion here, but
For the lit signs?
you had the flashing signs or something about the stop signs. The pole, the reflector stuff on the pole is definitely helping a lot.
I hope so. I mean,
But I don't know about during the day, but at night,
I
for
put
sure.
yellow on the stop ahead and I put red on all the stop signs. 2 feet of it. So you should be able to see it better.
Those are great.
Does anybody here want to do anything about signs or paint or, but all the gentleman who owns the paving company said is you need a certified engineer on traffic. If we just start moving things around, it's a problem, and I would.
Well,
believe that.
everything sign we have
It's
up.
already there, you can maybe
No, but
fix it.
every sign we have up right now is to industry standard, is
I know.
to New Hampshire DOT standard. Nothing is out. Hey, do we have a stop sign around town that got hit and my guys cut it and it's a little lower? Yeah, there are a few of those, but there's still a stop sign there. As we repair them as we can. But those major intersections, we put a lot of money, a lot of time into them. I went by this report, we've had it for a year. Anything they suggested that I could repair, I did repair. At the intersection of Pinecrest and Albuquerque, I put up new, standard signs. Whatever we can, we have corrected. His officers are out there, they were out there this weekend, they're sitting at the intersections, you know what I mean? Hit them in the wallet, I guess. Have I gone through a stop sign? Yeah, I have, I've rolled through them, just like anybody, but you're taking that just like speeding. You're gonna speed, you're gonna pay the price sometime.
If you subscribe to what they say on Facebook, most people will say it's out-of-towners cutting through Albuquerque to get out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's factual or not. I've actually watched residents run the stop sign. So,
That's not the.
I hate to spend $14,000 to fix a problem that doesn't get any better because people are just going to ignore the sign.
No.
I really do. I mean, do we do one major intersection with these lit up signs to see if it changes any behavior?
Well, the only one we could do right off would be Pinecrest. We'd have to get permission from the state to do Hillcrest, because
It's a state road,
Hillcrest is
right.
theirs. So even the intersection going straight through is theirs. They paint the lines, so we would have to get permission for them to put it, but which I don't think would be an issue, but
We put up stop cameras, and then if they don't stop, we just ticket them.
can't, in the state of New Hampshire, they're not.
That's right, they're not legal in the state of New
That's
Hampshire.
what we
I
need.
forgot about that. That's,
Stop
yeah,
and do it.
well, that's what people have advocated for too, but.
I mean, the person that we trust with our roads says that the signs aren't the issue, so I'm good with that.
I mean, I'm not against the lit signs. If enough people feel that that's something we need,
There's another
but
thing-
I'll tell you right now, I'll be the first one out there with the camera taking pictures of people driving through the lit ones.
There's
So,
another thing I've seen too, is that you got your
Look at
stop
this.
sign, it says another sign, let's say 100 feet back, 200 feet back, stop ahead, if you're in an area.
They're
It
gonna
adds
ignore
to
it
it.
if it's lit or not.
If
Those
what
are just
that
additional
picture
things.
shows doesn't stop somebody, a lit sign's not gonna do it.
I think a lit sign would help. But are we voting on this or no?
I think
or just-
it would help for people that don't live in town, because then they'll realize that's.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, yeah. She raised her hand, but go ahead. Yeah, you're still talking.
Good.
So I'm gonna be probably surprisingly not the most popular person with my comment. There's a reason for traffic patrol. And there's a reason for law enforcement. And that is to change behavior.
We're doing it.
So, I believe that under Chief Jones, the police officers are doing what they need to do to change behavior, but behavior change takes time. And our police force just got up to the number of patrol officers that we need. They were out there this weekend, and it's gonna take a little time. And I think we need to give the opportunity for that time. And I agree with the road agent. It's not pulling people over and saying you just ran a stop sign, thank you. It's writing tickets. It's changing behavior. And I'm an out of towner, and I never had a problem seeing the stop signs on Albuquerque ever, and I've always stopped by them, because people need to be respectful that there's that one opportunity that a car's coming the other way, and what happened this weekend takes a life. So people need to be respectful drivers.
Really messed up my pole, too.
Yeah, it took down school signage.
It's in the slide, you could just recreate it from using the slide.
Put up something different.
So do we have to do any motion, or are we just having a conversation, or what's
Well, I
happening?
think it's more of a discussion. I mean, if
All right,
at some
I'll just
point you
say on
guys
the
want
record,
to.
I would like a blinking sign at Pinecrest and Albuquerque. I think it would just help. It can't hurt. If it doesn't cost anything, if out of your budget, I mean, it costs out of the budget, but if it doesn't take away anything, I would say it would help.
So I would think that's not the intersection I think people would pay attention to. I was thinking more like Century where it crosses over Albuquerque. If there's people visiting they're not aware as they're heading up that road that there's a stop sign. Pinecrest, I think they're just doing it intentionally. I mean, John
There's so
Lasher had a
much
video
clear
of
space.
people
I don't know.
blowing.
It's a great
But
video.
it's what.
Well, the
it's what
visibility
they're
is so
saying.
good there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
drive up the
You can see all
intersection,
four- you can see all directions.
When
over.
you know
foggy
you're
day
by
and
yourself way down.
I went through it because it was foggy. It was a very
That's-
foggy morning, and I went right through it.
We gotta get
So-
some yellow lights for you.
Blink is good.
Well, if it's foggy, you may not even see you may not see the blink. That's the problem.
You'll see him.
I mean, tell me what you feel, how, what
So
the people
to do-
feel.
Okay,
people-
we could
you know.
So Kevin, do
fine.
one intersection with the flashing lights. You're talking about 5,000. Was it? You said
You-
1,000.
You're talking over six,
So
just for the
$6,000.
reds. So
Those
about
for
$1,500,
full.
$1,800 depending upon the battery size you get. There's different batteries,
Solar.
solar
Yeah,
squares,
yeah,
So it's anywhere, $1,500, $1,800 per sign. So if you want to do just the reds, you're talking 6,000, 7,000 just for the red. And if you want to do the stop aheads in yellow,
Stupid money.
you're talking another $7,000.
You do the whole fire station for nothing.
So if you had the stop aheads, if you had the yellow ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you need those. I think if
Or is that what we need? Do we need those instead of the reds? Instead of doing the reds, do the yellows prior to
cheaper?
the, same price.
Then you just answered my question. Because if you see
I-
something blinking red at you coming to the stop sign, that will catch your eye.
We just go buy some solar powered blinking lights. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
No, because they wouldn't be certified.
Yeah.
You can't use them.
But then they wouldn't be to DOT
It's
standards.
DOT standards.
but
That
that's
would be
okay,
a
we're
fault
just
for
trained.
distracting somebody.
Sometimes,
It sounds like, I mean, Kevin's saying there's not a sign issue. I think the chief is saying, the accident level's been low, I guess. I mean, signage, would it help maybe for the one person that really is distracted versus the one that's just driving through it? I don't know. $6,000 is a lot of money to prove out something.
I
Unless someone
concur.
wants to write a check for $6,000, I'm not sure why we could do that, why we should do it. And I think we're all responding to the amplification of what's going on Facebook,
Well,
personally.
exactly. Without a doubt we are. And it ebbs and ways. It comes and goes. You know what I mean? And
And I'm not saying the folks that have played haven't seen it. I definitely know people say, I've seen it myself.
Sure.
And I may have been one of them too, who knows, right? It's the same reason, but,
I just don't, I mean, I don't know if the lit signs would make any difference. I think people will still get to that intersection, see it's clear and drive through.
My point is just like on the intersections where people are out of town, they're not aware. But what's the percentage? It's probably pretty low.
I don't know,
And if they're-
like the accident that we just had at Century, a month ago? That was, guys, electricians, were they electricians, right?
I believe so.
Electricians or something, and they were coming from, the Century going eastbound.
Yep.
And they were on the phone talking, and that's that's the thing too, is at the bike path, you have a double stop.
Yes.
You get two stop bars. You're supposed to stop prior to look at the bike path and move up to the next stop bar, then go. And, I know people don't do that,
We broke through both.
you know,
You know, there was a time where the bike path had all the stops.
oh yeah, and cars were stopping in Albuquerque, so I thought they had to stop.
yeah.
And they had to be cut out.
When I first started, there was still a few out there, and we ended up taking them down because you're driving down the road and you're looking, you're going, there's a little stop. What's that little stop?
I had someone stop in front of me, I'm like, what?
That was me.
I don't think it was you, but yeah.
So, I mean, we can listen to people and find out what they want. If it becomes a real, major point, and we have to put
Okay.
one up, I would say Pinecrest would be the first one we did.
Well, then, the problem I have now is we have problems from neighbors who live on the corner of Pinecrest with the flashing lights.
I don't think so. I've seen them, and they're
Whatever
not,
you
and
do,
they're
don't put it out
not.
here.
Oh, I think we should put it out
But
here
they're not.
first.
But they're not like neon. I mean, they're not bright. They're just enough that you can see. It's not like downtown Las Vegas where it's. You know, what I mean, they're really not that bright. I have stopped and looked at
Would it be
lights.
cheaper to just put a flashing red
Sad life
light
that I have. I
hang
do
over
look
the
at them.
intersection?
Would it be what?
Cheaper to put a flashing red light over the intersection?
Well, that's an option too. You know what I mean? Put poles on either end, and
the
you're
wire
talking way more money, and you could have a blinking light.
But if you
That
put
that
a
actually
motion
was
sensor-
brought up in the plan, but it is more money. So now you're talking 25-foot galvanized poles at each corner, figuring out some kind of power for there. Whether stealing off a pole with a meter.
Or it's solar,
Plenty of
too.
areas of that. But then another thing too, you look at a solar light that's motion sensors. Okay, if the car comes up, it starts to blink so many feet in front of it.
No, it blinks all the time.
Do they
They-
blink all the time?
They all blink all the time, yeah.
They don't have a motion sensor on it?
I thought they.
No. We're too
I thought they
fast.
only-
No.
Cars moving too
Makes no
fast.
That would drive me crazy if it was outside my yard, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at Pinecrest, I mean, I don't think that would be a problem because the stop sign
Right.
on the east side is far enough in. I don't think that'd be an issue. The Pink House might have an issue, I don't know. They do have side deflectors that you can purchase, to block, you know what I mean? So it stays,
Either way, there'd be one facing that house and this house.
right.
So- I was just trying to remember about that. That wasn't just about stop signs. It
No,
was
that
also
was-
about speeding on
We
that
had, there
road.
was speeding
That's
involved.
really
That's,
what
that's where they
started
wanted the
this
calming, and they're talking about rotaries, they're talking about roundabouts, they're talking about, speed bumps, and they're talking about raised intersections. You know what I mean? And
So was social media. It was about the speeding on Albuquerque, so hopefully it's,
Speeding everywhere.
it doesn't, it's not just there.
and we had concern around the school, but it hasn't seemed to have been a problem lately.
And then there was the crosswalk issue, which was $388,000 to put in ADA compliant entrances to a crosswalk that went nowhere because we don't have sidewalks. You know what I mean? Which give him
So it wasn't never
$388,000 and tell him.
It was
that,
never
you know,
to
he can
approve
do
that.
it.
It was really, do you want to contact people who specialize in this to
Yep.
implement something? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we gave them problems and they went, oh, we'll figure
If
out
you want
something.
that, do that. If you want that, do
Yeah,
that. All right, so we're not going to do a warrant article with it, it sounds like. Okay. Next, paving for Transfer Station Highway, 2024 and 2025 SIP plan.
So
Okay.
the board asked last, meeting, we had this, thank you, Chief. We had this on the,
Thank you, Chief.
warrant article list. And, the board asked if we would go back and research whether this could be done with paving money.
Yep.
And so we looked at it, and there you have a document that is showing that you have about 74 roughly thousand left in the paving money. And then you have, of course, your allocation for next year, of 200,000. So I
We have
believe,
50,
and you have in the special.
yes.
In the special money that was, but in your regular paving allowance. So I believe, Road Agent Brown's getting an updated
I'm
quote.
getting an updated quote on the first quote. It was around 280,000 last year. And of course, asphalt prices have gone up. So I asked them to requote it in today's prices. This is something that needs to be done. If you don't believe it, drive through my parking lot, drive through, the incinerated parking lot through, recycling's parking lot and come down Recycling Way. Recycling Way, when it does rain, floods out. We need 2 more catch basins put in there into the line. It needs to be milled and repaved. The recycling center needs to be repaved. My shop is an absolute disaster. I could put 10 ton of patch down. Where the fire trucks pull in for fuel, they have to drive across open dirt, to get to their area. it's something, it's needed, and, if we do have the funds, well, I believe that the funds that we have, we could do that, but it would preclude any kind of paving in town next year other than that.
So the 280,000, with that current estimate is for from Hillcrest all the way down Recycling Way, all of Dave's parking area, and then all down your access road by the gas
All of it.
station, all in the front and back,
Yeah.
all the way around the building.
Mill it, grade it, and pave it.
We've just been kicking this down this thing down the can for a long time, so.
So the answer to your question was yes, it can be done. Most likely with the funds that we have in next year's paving money, but as he said, it would
Wouldn't be
preclude
any paving.
any paving on
What,
streets next year.
what was the roads that were targeted for next year? And what's
You know,
their
something I didn't look it up, we put it in the CIP every year. Whatever wasn't done this year. The end of Pearson, a part of Century, the beginning part of Century, or as much of Century as I could probably get, is where I would head this time. We don't have anything that's screaming, part of
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Talent's starting to get a little rough in the Pilgrim area. Is it dire? I don't think it's dire
No,
quite.
it's not as dire as Recycling Way.
Yeah, and everything would just be pushed back now there. Of course, I'm gonna re-image my CIP plan for this coming year again, push it back one more year. But we don't have anything that's absolutely falling apart. Our roads are in pretty good shape. I think this is a good time to do it. Recycling Way, if you've been down it, is an absolute horror show.
Now, was Recycling Way ever in your paving plan? I mean, it's always, people
Yeah,
consider
it's in almost every year and it gets pushed out.
but that's also because Recycling Way is actually a road.
Yeah.
So I think what John was talking about last time is separate Recycling Way from incineration, the recycling plant itself behind the gates. And then that should be, Recycling Way should always be part of the paving budget.
But it sounds like we can use the whole paving budget for that if we needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in 1 year, we knock it all off and then you get 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the following year, we'll move back into the CIP plan and back into,
At some point, we need to get that 200 grand back into the budget. The additional funds.
that'd be nice.
I mean, because you are limited what you can do in a year because we don't have the money to do more than one or two, actually more than one road probably at this point.
Yeah, this year we got one large road and two small cul-de-sacs.
And so you say next year, there's nothing, at this point, there's nothing as bad as Recycling Way that you have to address.
I would do Recycling Way. If it wasn't, I would do, it would have been done this year.
The one,
Yeah, and that would have used up a considerable amount because like I said, we do need to put a couple of catch basins in, some more structures.
Right.
Is the paving of recycling center in the highway department expensive? Yeah, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're gonna go in, they're gonna mill it and they'll do it and it'll be, we got 10 trucks, 16 trucks at a time, during a snowstorm coming and going. Dave's trucks are going in, Dave locks his gates and they come through the back way, daily, continuous. So, it's heavy and then we got the fire trucks coming in and out, you got my trucks coming in and out, you got the trash trucks coming in and out.
The driveway going is in top shape.
The catch basin on the right by the fire hydrant,
No, yeah,
it's sunk. It's down. It has to be taken.
Getting old. Question for you, Dave, yeah,
Dave?
Kevin. I don't know anybody named like that.
I wouldn't think you'd forget that.
I was thinking in some of your storage areas and stuff like that, that recycled asphalt that we used at the field, or the parking area for the soccer field, that's holding up real good. Okay?
In the crushed rock,
Just don't-
and the
No,
pavement.
it's crushed asphalt.
Well, the crushed asphalt we used underneath where all the sanders are hung.
Correct.
Where the plows are hung. Yeah.
That-
And
but
we-
that
and
makes
we've-
sense.
Yeah, we've used that. I mean,
Okay.
well, I'm not paving from
Okay,
edge to edge. We're repaving what we have.
Okay.
Maybe like next to the tent, I might go a little further back just to kind of make the
well, you
apron.
need to get to the gas station because we don't get the tires dirty, but I mean, I understand that, okay? Because that's been like that for years.
Yeah, so that area there definitely would be.
Could use some recycle on it. I'm just kidding.
We did recycle over
I know,
there.
I was kidding.
Okay.
Another question for you.
What do you got?
Would it be permitted to use the state funds that we get for our paving projects for this?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, well, a portion of
My
it, yes.
understanding it was for roads.
Well, it is a road. Recycling way is a road that goes all the way into my shop.
It's a public way.
And you know, it is a public way. It is used for,
It's not
it
private,
is
it's
a
all-
named road. It does show up on, you know.
Needs to be asked.
The issue is.
And we talked, trust me, we
Yeah.
went through it all.
So I researched the $74,000 from the paving money from this year, can be escrowed, and encumbered, I'm sorry, by the selectmen, which is why we will need a quote and we will need to have a motion, when Karen and I bring you the list of encumbrances for this year. You will need to encumber that funds for that project, if that is the will of the board.
Okay. I can live with that, because it makes sense.
Does anybody have any other questions?
It's my only one.
Okay, so we don't have to make a motion, we
Nope.
just think about it?
No.
Okay.
Nope, we're
Good
good.
for,
More
the-
talk.
the-
No,
All
but
numbers.
I will remove it from the warrant if that is the direction the board
Yep.
would like to take.
Remove it. I support that. Remove it from the warrant.
And, you know, in reality, the town isn't paying for it. The money's coming from, you know, state revenue. So it's not being raised through taxes.
Right.
Well, at least not the town's taxes.
Right.
My state taxes, it's a little bit.
Great,
Sounds good.
Anything else?
all right. Anything else you want to add for why we have you here?
Good. Do you have anything for
Any
me? No,
surprises?
we're good. We're getting ready for winter.
Yeah,
Hoping it doesn't come till next year. I know you guys want your fireworks, but I'm not looking for snow.
I always say 6 inches Christmas Eve.
Christmas
I would say
Eve.
we don't need it.
Gone by New Year's.
I'd be okay, but you know, it messes with my
Not
guys.
Christmas Eves. You're messing with the guys.
They'll be itching to get out.
Oh, they're itching. They're itching right now. No doubt about it. So, is that all we got, Kim?
yep, thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Number 12, general assistance budget.
Sorry about the stop sign thing. I saw it today, and that's what I tell you.
The what?
The stop sign I saw up there.
Just don't run it over, Kevin.
Again.
So, a number of years ago, back in 2019, there was talk about moving the general assistance budget from a trust fund, an expendable trust. The problem has been that we haven't been budgeting funds in the general assistance lines. The state budgeting law requires that you have a dollar figure in those line items in order to charge to them. So when we go ahead and we submit the town's financials to the DRA, there has been nothing budgeted in those individual line items, and therefore you can't charge to them.
The new ones?
There was an expendable trust fund that was created, and that has had $20,000 and it's now $924.60 because of interest. But there have been no motions to move those funds into the town budget to cover the welfare expenses. This really came to light this year because our expenses became very high. And some of that is a result of the housing market. So in Litchfield, you have had a number of apartment complexes that have increased their rents due to market. Anywhere from 1,200 now to 1,600, for example, in one complex. And these individuals have lived in Litchfield for a number of years, but that's a pretty steep price for any individual to take. So we've had a number of that have come forward for housing assistance. This is not specific to Litchfield. I was at a welfare conference, and we are seeing this across southern New Hampshire with many towns over their general assistance budget.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Some
The
people are
rental
struggling.
costs are going nuts.
The rent prices
The
are
rental's
just
going nuts.
exorbitant. We, a number of us were at the land use conference on Saturday, and we heard the same thing. Even with the number of units of housing that are being added, we're not making a dent in the overall need, which was somewhere around 60,000 units needed in New Hampshire. It's not going to get better anytime soon. Unfortunately, we need to budget something. And when I say something, legally, you just have to put $1. I would not recommend that because I don't think that that is responsible budgeting. I understand moving money from unassigned fund balance into an expendable trust. But the fact is that we made an expendable trust and we never moved money from it. So is that really the best use? I think the most responsible thing to do is to create a budget within the town budget. Yes, it is funded by taxation like the rest of our budget, and hold the expendable trust for when our expenses are exorbitant.
The fact we didn't tap into the trust fund is probably the result of the fact we had excess funds at the end of the year. Otherwise, we would have had to.
Correct.
And so it's always been a practice not to tap into the trust funds if we don't have to.
Correct.
Right? I'm really curious, and I know you explained, I think I asked you this the other day or last week, and you explained that, now we have to do certain things and we have to do it. But why I don't understand the increase, because based on my math, that $29,000 in housing alone, that's like 14 months of rent. How many families are benefiting from that 2,900?
So I can say that there's 2 individuals that process these requests. They start with Donna and they come to myself if I'm not available, Karen. The number of requests that have come through are substantial. You probably have at least a quarter of my time in a week that is dealing with general assistance issues. So out of that 29,000, off the top of my head, there's 9 to 10 different individuals that.
The renting cost is going extremely high everywhere.
And, we have to do our due diligence, right? Is there other available options for keeping these people housed? Shelters are full. If you have a person that you are sending to a shelter they have to have, by law, transportation to get to their job. If their job is in Litchfield, there's no public transportation to Litchfield. So, I mean, Litchfield has a number of obstacles. We don't have public transportation. We don't have shelters. And really now, I mean, we have market rate housing.
Yeah.
We are very limited on our, affordable, housing.
Rental costs have gone up.
Well, as far as adding it to the budget, I mean, we have the line items. I think I would just put a dollar in, I would just fill the trust fund up and draw out of it appropriately. Take excess funds from the end of the year and put it in that fund. Because I think it's ebbs and flows, and at some point in time, it's not gonna be that high, hopefully, God willing, at some point. Now we're budgeting too much when we have a trust fund to deal with it. The idea on the trust fund was not to have the ups and downs. We set it at 20,000 for a reason, I'm not sure why. I think it was probably, I'm not sure when the trust fund got it put in,
19.
19?
But you haven't added to it.
Right, well, that's our bad, right? Because we've been having costs that we have not withdrawn from it, so we haven't added to it for, again, probably for the right reasons. We had excess funds in the years, there's no reason to tap into those savings accounts if we can afford it with the already raised dollars.
I think we funded it from unassigned fund balance.
Probably, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I think I was on the board when it was a warrant, so I
Good point.
think
It's a good
I was
idea.
funded.
It was funded from unassigned.
I guess I'm sort of in favor, I mean, I wanna make sure obviously we don't wanna get flat-footed and have these expenses we can't cover, cause we have to cover them. But if we think we need more money than $30,000, which is what the current expenditure is this year, cause right now we're only budgeting 16 in 2025, and does anybody really think anything's gonna improve? Cause the average, if you do the average, it's gonna be at least 25.
So I think that for the number of challenges that we had early on in 2024, the increases that we saw now, it's been 9 months of increases, and I think individuals that have had probably challenges have or found different alternatives, or so yes, I think it will get better. We have now 2 different programs in place for energy, which we can point people to. Eversource just started a New Start program to assist people with energy rates. So I think it's going to get a little better, but I do think it's the responsible thing is to budget for general assistance. I mean, it's a town function like every other department within the town.
Concern with that is if you have a budget line item and we're looking at the tax cap and we're over the tax cap, which we've been, the last couple of years, that's an area that gets cut out by budget committee.
That would be a concern, yeah.
That's why I was saying, just do a warrant and do out of, general fund.
But you are required by law.
By law, you have to house them.
It doesn't matter, we were required by law to have employees that were warrant passed, and we pulled the money out of the budget. I just don't see, if the voters say yes and the budget committee still pulls the money out, in my opinion, that wasn't the intent either.
Then we have to shop into everybody else's budgets in the meantime and keep funding.
Well, and that's the reality of it.
That's the reality of it.
The reality of it is if you don't budget it.
You got it.
And the expenses come in, we are going to have to pull from every other department's budget to cover those expenses.
That's right.
Because that's a law.
That's correct. When you get into welfare.
Don't disagree with that, but.
What would you be satisfied to have in that trust fund to be able to draw off that trust fund?
So as it is this year, we have the 30,000 in expenses, and we have 20,000 in the trust fund, nothing in the budget.
So are we 10
So-
grand in the hole?
We're 10 grand in the hole.
Yep.
Let's
Well-
put it that way.
You're doing the end of the year calculations now. What's the projected end of the year funds right now, based on?
Oh, we'll have funds
To cover it.
to cover it.
Okay.
Out of, yes, I mean, I don't want anyone to think that we're over budget. We watch that pretty closely, and I still think that we're gonna have 200,000 to 300,000
In excess.
in excess, but I mean, at very least, you need to put $1 in the accounts
Well,
so
it's-
that we can charge against it and not be in violation of budget law. Well, I mean, at very least, that's what you need to do, because we need to charge to those. And then at the end of the year, we will need to transfer whatever in the expendable trust over, and the rest will hit the town departments, and we'll have to watch.
Not that I want to open a Pandora's box, but I'm thinking about cable TV and how it's funded and the budget that I charge things to. As far as I know, there's no dollar line there. It's just a zero.
That's a different type of fund, though.
Well, I'm talking from the budgeting perspective. There's no budget cast. I know the money gets
That's a
transferred.
special fund, special revenue fund.
Okay.
Totally different.
But it doesn't
Like I
require-
said, there is no difference in the general assistance than the fire or the police or the selectmen or any other, there's no difference. In municipal budgeting, general assistance is a department.
Gotcha.
So-
We assist all departments through that.
So if we budget line $1 and then fill it with extra money at the end of the year, that's okay?
Legally, you can budget $1 and we can charge to it.
I'm thinking with the budget
We'll
committee.
just
have it,
constantly be
where they're
over
gonna
budget.
cut.
Yeah, guaranteed to at least cut it in half.
That's what I'm saying. We
But then we
probably,
need to fund we
trust
need to
fund,
put a warrant article to
Yeah.
fund the trust.
and I think that's what we should do, at least for this year, or get past the cap issue for now. Put what we think is appropriate for the following year, and again,
But what if it fails?
for a fund balance, zero cost to the taxpayers. I mean, I guess I wouldn't think it.
Well, if you're taking it out of unassigned, it would have to be a warrant article, but if we use year-end funds, that wouldn't take a warrant article.
You can't put in you can't deposit it without warrant article, do that, so.
Oh, okay.
And even if it's a warrant article with fund balance, it's zero tax.
Yeah,
tax, and
additional taxes.
And it would be, and I would assume the budget committee would approve it too, and support it, and we would support it, and the voters would support it
But the
also.
downfall with that is we need to watch our unassigned fund balance.
Well, we don't
Now,
know
I'm
what that-
hoping it's around 10%, but
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
I don't know that yet. I won't know that until the tax rate's set.
Which is tomorrow, hopefully.
But
I'd like
I-
11.
I mean, going into budget on Thursday, I need to let the budget committee know what we are funding in these line items, and if it's,
Isn't Thursday's?
Well, that makes sense.
School vote?
You're showing it.
Yeah, it starts the schools, yeah. We're not
yes,
doing town.
but Chairman Sun has asked us to come and update on the town
Where we're
on a
at.
couple different items,
Yeah,
yeah.
just where we're at.
So what basically this is saying is that this is what the general fund assistance is gonna be referencing to, the expenditures and what it all goes to, this chart I'm looking at.
Right, so those are the actual expenses each
Okay.
year. And again, you gotta remember in 2022, the law changed. So that you can no longer have people go over to where the shelters are in, Nashua or Manchester, somewhere else, where the individuals have lived is responsible.
To get them to and from.
And if they go to another municipality, that municipality can charge us back. So there was a change in the law which pushed some cost to us, and then just a change in the market rates
Which put
pushed
cost
the
to us.
less. And the lack of capacity of any shelters.
They have no capacity right now, they're all full.
And it's only gonna get worse with winter coming too. so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's up to the board. I mean, sorry, the accountant in me says you budget responsibly, but I mean,
I
we
think-
can certainly do $1.
Yeah, but we have a responsibility for, I'm gonna say, assistance. Regardless of what comes in, we're still responsible for that, the way the law reads.
Correct.
So if we're gonna go over budget on that, the way things look sometimes.
Can you-
Housing costs, the rental costs and everything else, especially rental. And then you gotta deal with where they can, and you just brought up some good points with water and power. That was good. But I know for the housing costs, that comes directly here. So we need that funding for that. I know, John.
No, I just had a budgeting question. Can you show the trust fund as a revenue? Meaning, I'm looking, how do you offset the tax cap, right? So you put the numbers in the budget, but you show the trust fund balance as a revenue source? Probably not.
I don't think so.
No, because it takes a motion by the board to move the general assistance trust. It's a trust held by the trustees of the trust funds. It's not a revenue on the revenue side of the budget.
Right.
Gotcha. Could we make a motion pre the budget, go in the budget and say we're transferring $20,000 off to the fund? Into the budget? For 2025? Then show it as a revenue?
It would sit in a receivable. No, you can't, you actually have to have the expenses before you can move from the expendable trust.
I'm just trying to get around it, yeah, you have to put, she wants, I understand what she's saying, it's a department, she wants to budget it correctly and properly do it. But we realize we have a trust fund that funds it, and if we don't do it, we don't show revenue, we're gonna show a tax impact, and it's against the cap, which is the other side of the problem I have.
25% of your time is a lot, and it's one day a week. Does any
It's-
one of
it's
these
been-
options
I find
make
that,
that
It
go
has
down?
been crazy.
So, but
So
so I find that, so I.
Friday, we dealt with 5 different types of requests, between Donna and I.
And I don't expect.
And that was one day that it was just, and it's up and down, and
It varies from
So-
month to month.
some result in an expenditure,
so-
some don't.
So
right?
either one isn't gonna affect the 25%, I just wanted to validate that. It's just whether it's the transactions in between. So you're questioning, we have a fund, do we start using that as a normal budgeting tool and just use that one? Or do we put the dollar in and at the end of the year, we take the money out of what's left and
Both
pay, right?
So we can put $1 in each line item and
So
add
that's-
20 to the expendable trust
I
out
concur with
of
that.
the,
Well, it saves it from maybe
Unassigned.
budgeting, removing it. That's
Correct.
the safety you're looking for, right?
And I'll be honest, I don't expect
Yeah.
this to calm down, the cost to us is gonna come up. We're going through a cycle now. Every so many years, our come up, then we're going into that cycle now.
We've been in it.
No, but
Yeah.
it's gonna get worse.
But you don't want a fund where you're always putting money in every year, and then you have a lot of extra money you don't need there, sitting there
Exactly.
either. So that's the, so we pay as we go is what we're finding at the end of the year. We just sum it up, bring the money in, right? When you don't,
Yeah,
you're not,
yeah.
you're not
You'd
in
have to
favor of it. Yeah.
So what do we wanna do?
So if, like, we're saying clean accounting versus maybe getting it pulled out of the budget, right? Is that really what I'm hearing? Which is
I
a
like the
safety
idea
net
of the
issue
clean
too.
account
That-
myself.
These are all safety issues, right? the instability.
I mean, as the budget gets tighter and tighter, I
They got much to
don't,
pull from.
I don't wanna take, right, I don't wanna take a
Won't have much to
chance.
pull from.
It's an easy target for them.
I think we ought to leave the 20,000, whatever it is, we did, okay? What I'm seeing here. Keep that there.
I mean, you're right now 22 below the cap
Without any warrant articles.
without, that's a whole nother conversation on
That's lucky 13 coming up.
budget. The budget committee is going to get to the point where it can't get warrant articles under the cap.
I don't think,
The cap is
I don't think
the
they should. I just let it go to the voters and decide.
I mean,
Captain, and maybe next year we
Right.
adjust the
Right.
I
cap.
get that, but
we
they can also,
can't
they come out
lower
and
the
say why.
budget so that they can approve warrant articles. It's just
John, how old's the cap?
Kicking it down the road.
shooting us.
It's
Frank,
at least
I know
10
we
years
get-
at this point.
Yeah, Steve Perry, right?
No, it was Steve, Steve.
Wasn't
Byron
Steve.
brought it.
It
It was
was,
Frank Byron, Frank Byron brought it forward.
Yeah.
And again, back when that happened, it seemed to make sense.
Frank
And-
Byron was here. He's the one that put it on.
No, he brought it forward and the board supported it based on the concept that was described. And the thing about it is, and I think I said it to Kim too, even at that time, my understanding was the warrants weren't part of it. And when the warrants were approved, they get added into the pool of the cap fund.
I concur.
Meaning that's
That's
they
what I
got
thought.
calculated and there was everything above that. What we're learning is that's not the case, and that's what's really that's what's really hurting us, because every warrant that gets approved hurts us the following year, so there's a follow-on
It's
cost.
a shell game.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll move it.
Right.
Now we'll move it.
It's a problem, and we did it to ourselves too by using unexpended fund balance to fund a lot of stuff, so, and hid the first year costs, and there's a whole bunch of that stuff too. But
We're growing.
it sounds great on paper, but it obviously doesn't work very well for running a town that has and for a town that's growing, needs are growing, demand's growing, we can't.
Can't
fund
live on zero all the time.
It's
No.
unsustainable. Not
And
sustainable.
that's what's happening. This cap is causing the problem for everything. It's all the way down. If this cap was looked at every 3 or 4 years, based off needs, but it has not been looked at.
Well, you guys just moved it last year, or, yeah.
But I had that argument,
Yeah.
you know, we were challenged with that argument,
I know.
and
One more question on that.
I
think I just
said-
forgot it.
when we figured the 5% tax cap, it was 5% starting last year.
Yeah.
And last year, we only got
3.2.
a 2.8% increase. So they cut us, and then we went into this year's budget already behind the 8 ball.
Got it.
So, now this year, 5% is proving to be a challenge.
Well,
They
So-
created the hardship.
it feels like we gotta move this on so we can.
Yeah,
get it
so do
done.
we need to, do you want to take money out of this account, this 20,840?
mean,
Do you want
I'll-
money out of here now to pay bills, or what are we doing here? Or are we just leaving
We
this
got
money
ex-
here?
The problem is we have excess
Well-
funds.
So I need to, we didn't budget anything in the 2024 budget.
Mhm.
So the correct thing to do is to move some money from the expendable trust
Mhm.
into these line items so that we can show that on our financials to cover the expenditures we made
We are
this
gonna
year.
have-
I'm not saying you have to move the whole 20.
But why?
You could move,
If we're predicting 200K at the end of the year, our bottom line fund balance can cover the expense. Why not just let that get covered versus tapping into the trust? Let's add to the trust next year and budget appropriately, or, add the dollar where you need to do it. I don't,
right, if you put the dollar in for next year and then you want to, just fund the trust fund, fine. But this year, we didn't.
You good?
We didn't put a dollar in the line items.
right, but we have an overture of $30,000 in vendor payments.
Right, but we have no budget in the
cover it.
financials
To pull it from.
with which to make that $30,000 charge against.
Yep.
So when we go to file our financials, it's showing expenditures made against no appropriations.
Correct, and here's where the violation is, if you do that.
Correct.
So-
So
Yep.
we need to move some money from the expendable trust into those accounts.
Like $100 into each line?
Right, even that is, and the rest will
Right.
come
Why
from
don't
the
you do that?
bottom line of the budget, so.
How many lines you got here?
That sound
One,
fair?
two. If you put 1,000 into each one, it should be the same thing.
I wouldn't do 1,000.
Do
I
100.
mean-
Do 100.
8.
So one,
800.
Okay.
One of them's 0, so hold on, yeah, hold on.
right,
1, 2,
so
3, 4,
we
5, 6,
had
7, 8.
electric, housing,
Medical.
and
Yeah, it's 8,
water.
it's 8 lines though, right? So $800 from the trust fund to underpayment account spread across all 8 accounts. Or 8 line.
Yeah, there's 8 line items there. Yeah.
Right, but we, for,
And that way, if you get anything in line 820, if you get a request, then at least you've got something to appropriate.
right,
So I think $100 is fine.
Okay.
So you can,
Anybody want to make a
But-
motion? Oh, sorry.
okay.
Discussing it.
Some of those, we have no charges, so remember, can't move from an expendable trust
Oh, I
against
get- okay.
accounts that don't have charges.
Gotcha.
Like the VP transportation.
Right.
And the
So
prescription
like
medical
the
service.
medical services, we don't have any, we didn't incur any expenses.
So we're talking about $300 instead.
600, right?
300, right? Just 3 accounts.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
1, 2,
You're right.
3, you got 8.5.
1, 2, 3.
So I'll make a motion that we move $300 from the expendable trust fund, called the General Assistance Expendable Trust Fund, $300 to account 04014445.20 to have $100 deposited in VP, electricity, heating oil, and housing,
Food.
and food.
Yeah, housing.
Line 821, 822, and 824.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second that
A
motion.
second, all right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, 500. Nice, all right.
And so the second part would be, what are we placing in a warrant article?
It's always the second.
To me, it feels like if you're going to, if the run rate is what it is right now, you need at least 35,000 in there,
At least.
maybe
Well,
more.
you're at least 10 grand in the hole, and to build it back up to, yeah. But yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, so you'll have after this motion, 20,600, you could add, what, 10?
Well, I don't think that's
15?
enough. I think 20 is probably what you gotta put in there. I think you need to have about 40,000.
Because you got 30,000 in expenditures,
Yeah.
so that
And
means you're
then-
10 grand in the hole.
The plan should be going forward is every year we fill it back up
Yes.
with whatever we have left at the end of the year out of the
Okay.
general, because it falls to general fund anyway, so.
I think
So-
it's anywhere.
We will budget $1 in each line item,
Each one.
and
See, maybe 20 in the warrant article.
20 in the warrant.
From the general fund, yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully that helps.
We'll see.
Hopefully the need drops.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I don't think the needs are gonna drop on renting.
Not that quickly, yeah.
All right,
It won't drop.
all right, number 14 of 18. Do you have anything else, Kim, on that?
13.
No, not on
Just
that.
did 13, right? Warrant
Oh,
article
we
draft
draft
discussion?
articles.
Oh,
13 draft.
all right, water, I thought that was the art, you were making reference
That's
to the
gonna be
warrant
one of
article.
them.
All right, yeah, that's what I thought we did. All right, number 13, let's continue, warrant article draft discussion, yep. Okay.
So, we did add, some to the proposed warrant articles. We received language, from town council on
Down right here,
the per diem.
next one down.
And I want to caveat this by saying that town council finds this concerning.
What's that?
The per diem as a warrant article, and no means no. So we need to be very
I
clear.
think I raised that same concern, right?
Yes.
Can I have some background information on that? I'm sorry. What is this about? Per diem? No means no?
Fire department,
The fire department,
okay.
40 hours
the
of labor they wanna
funds,
add.
yes.
Okay.
So.
Volunteer.
Even if you add warrant article to say that additional hours, then there has to be a floor to that. And what's the floor? What's additional hour? Additional hours to what they had this year, or additional hours? And what if they get in a situation where we're down a firefighter, a firefighter gets taken out, one of our general, or God forbid, the chief or Captain Kelly, and we have to fill it with a per diem. And this has failed. No means no. We can't. So, it's dangerous. This is dangerous.
Did you have any?
I think that maybe the best path forward was just to add additional funds to their call department line item for them to expend appropriately, and if it's enough, they can build off of that for doing the per diem during the day. If they reduce, if that, so the difference there is, if they increase that number by some number that would helpfully fund, let's call it 3/4 fund of 5-day-a-week per diem person, and it didn't pass, they still have the call department to use for per diem use when they need the per diem use.
Okay. Our thought process was take per diem out, period.
Take the word per diem out of the warrant?
Yep. Take it completely out.
Yeah.
We're making a motion to raise and appropriate $47,900 to supplement the fire department's budget to allow for increased coverage as necessary to protect the safety and welfare of the
I
residents.
like it.
We're just adding money to the budget.
I like that. Yep. And if it denies, it doesn't, there's no body, there's no skill, there's no job, you still have the ability to tap into the call department to bring a per diem in if you had to.
Yeah.
Or any whatever labor service cost you have in your budget.
Covers the cost.
Just adding extra money.
Yeah.
And,
I agree. I think that's perfect.
but we can't say that it's for per diem because there might legitimately be a reason that you have to add per diem staff or use more per diem staff without it necessarily being,
Per diem person.
yeah, these 40 hours during the week. So,
I think that's a good way to go about it.
It covers,
budget
if
might be
any bill goes down,
different.
it covers.
They're looking at.
Well, it's a warrant article still on itself, and it's asking the voters whether they agree, they're willing to support increased services as needed. I mean, the department is doing a really good job from a social media perspective, letting people know what's going on around town. They see all the activity.
all this means is they have, four different salary lines, right? So you have the chief and you have the regular firefighters and you have the per diem and one more. Oh. Those budgets combined, they would be stuck within those four if this failed.
Yeah.
But if this passed, they'd get 47,900 added wherever they put it.
Yep.
Which
Well, it's services, so it would be labor.
Right.
Yeah, but
It would
could
be
fall-
labor.
But it could be
Yes.
falling in any of those buckets, that
But it
doesn't
would be
matter.
labor,
Yeah.
yes.
Is budget gonna look at this like it's a,
Oh, yeah.
a,
Yep.
a worker, right? like maybe adjust payroll.
Blank check? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tough. I know what we're trying to do, but they're gonna look at it like maybe their pay should be adjusted, or another person should be justified.
Well, if there's no one there to do the job, you gotta pay somebody to do the job.
I was just gonna say, why don't you just hire somebody to do the job?
But
I
you-
know. Yeah.
The most cost-effective way to do it is do a per diem person, not a.
That's correct.
without-
I agree,
without-
I agree to that, but they're just gonna say,
Hire
there's a
with you to do
shortfall,
it.
so hire somebody. That's what I would say.
Well, great. But if we
Or
go
transfer.
forward with a full-time employee and it doesn't pass, they don't get what they need and they're not able to cover what they gotta cover.
Right. They're not locked into for a full-time employee, they're using what they have. That's what they're trying to do, which makes more sense.
Is this affecting pensions and all that?
No.
Okay.
No,
It affects no benefits.
shouldn't do that at all.
I mean, I think we had this
Good.
discussion last time, and I think they need a third person to begin with, and I think we're putting a Band-Aid onto a problem that's gonna get worse down the road. But at least takes a small bite at the budget problem.
Can I just give you guys an update? So, just so you're aware, we've already surpassed last year's total calls for the year. We're right now 100 calls above last year at the same time. So we're probably gonna be another 100 calls more than we were this year from last year. So last year we did 776 calls total for in December, and we just hit 791 tonight. So we're doing an average of 4 to 6 calls during the daytime, and we're doing more volume calls. We're doing fires, and we're doing the harder calls that are more labor intensive, needing more than 2 people. And unless the deputy and I are in town, for the most part, we don't have those people during the day. That's why we're looking to get to a per diem. A per diem is one of our off-duty, full-time guys that are on other departments.
That you can schedule.
It's easier to schedule them to come in and work hours and then be available versus our call department, which we can only rely on after, say, 6 o'clock at night. And by 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, they're gone to their daytime jobs.
You don't work at home?
No, sorry.
It's a new thing today.
I mean, that's why I think we have a problem we gotta solve. And I think this path is at least one way to get there.
Let's
Because
go
you're
with
tapping
this
into a resource that one wants to work and two already has the training and they just need to be, and they're already, most of the time part of the department already as a call. So, it's a.
It makes sense to do what they're requesting to make this work.
Bob's got, I see the wheels
He knows
turning.
Thursday's gonna be hell.
You need a backup?
It's doing the same thing. It's adding $47,900 to fire labor.
It actually would be no different than, we've been very fortunate that we haven't had major snowstorm, ice storm, flooding or anything. We would use that money in a short period if we had a big incident. We get a big brush fire, we get an ice storm, we're gonna be spending that kind of money anyways, just for something like that. We've been very fortunate, we haven't had that in a number of years.
Not gonna snow this year.
Yeah, but right now,
We can only hope.
the brush fires that are going on,
It reminds me of the old days, having brush fires though. In the middle of the woods, 100 acres.
That's our suggestion for our warrant article on that item. That was the one that was out there. The other one that we are still working on is the building. So Attorney Driscoll's researching it. We need to say that it is the state building code. You cannot have local building code that has not gone to the state and been approved.
correct.
That's a change in the law. So they're working to figure that, and we're not the only municipality. There's a few municipalities. It's not on the list yet because they're still working with the language.
That's correct, 'cause that's, the state
That's not
building
financial.
code supersedes whatever's there.
There's no financial impact to that, no.
Nope.
No financial impact at all.
The state building code supersedes it.
And so
Verify that with the president.
basically, everything else we had already gone over, the general assistance, I had put in for 10 and I will change that.
To 20.
To 20 now. And then we still have the replacement of one cruiser, from unassigned and the replacement of one from taxation.
Yep.
Obviously, we don't know about the unassigned fund balance yet, so, we should know and we can probably finalize these next week. But that's.
Is there an order reason for it? Because I'm.
No, it has to be cleaned up, because I've taken out the paving, I've gotta clean it up. now.
Well, just because the police cruiser order, you got the taxation one first and you got the non-taxation one second. And my concern would be is someone approves the taxation one but won't approve the
No taxation.
no taxation one, because I
So
already
say
approved
I'm
one.
gonna give them one, and they'll
You
go
want
for the
that one
first.
too? Right, that's what I'm saying, I'm just kind of
You want
wondering
them
if
flipped?
that would be my preference,
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has.
Did we talk about
Pay
that
for it
before?
through taxes.
Well, that's true, but then they, deny the one that, I don't know.
Have we spoke, yeah, we
I
talked
mean,
about that.
ideally, I'd like to see both approved, obviously. But we'll take one.
And I actually don't have a problem with your warrant article. I tried to put on my cynical hat, but I came up empty.
Just don't see them Friday after Thursday's meeting.
Yeah,
It's nice to watch them.
we're not trying to wear you down.
I'm all set.
It's tough.
Well, he gets his cough back.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're still working on, I did reach out to the citizens rep on the human services and health agencies. I believe the two other people on that committee were the town administrator and the health inspector, and I think, we're all set. We just need to make sure the citizens rep agrees. And we are recommending that comes down.
Okay.
From last year. So that's where we are with those.
That's good.
And we'll work on finalizing for next week. And then, so you're 22, take 8 out for what we're putting in. You're 22,262 after library added their health changes under the cap. Soon.
And what about with the money you added for health and human health services?
That's warrant.
Okay, that's right, I'm sorry.
That's a warrant.
Okay, so 22.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think that is where the budget committee wanted us to be, but I also have no recommendations for further cuts from directors, so.
I've got none.
And so I think there was a question on whether the selectmen wanted to cut anything else in the budget. I just don't see anything that makes sense.
Nope.
I went over this, I didn't see anything. I have nothing that I like to.
So there was one last question at budget committee. There's a revenue line item in the general budget for payment in lieu of taxes. This is the property that, the wells that are owned by the town of Hudson.
Oh.
And so they asked us to research, and they wanted to see the pilot agreement. We reached out between Hudson and our records and could not find anything. We believe that it is legitimately just old.
Yep.
And so the problem is this falls under RSA 72 semicolon 11, which states that you would have a payment in lieu of taxes. You would make an agreement with the municipality that owns property within your municipality, if it's a water works, if it's something related to their water works. But that agreement has to be redone and re-signed by both boards of selectmen every 5 years. The reason it's every 5 years is you revalue every 5 years, right? So our suggestion is we changed the budget amount for what we are truly billing them. And we would wait until the reval next year and then enter into a new pilot agreement, write up a pilot, and have the two boards sign it.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense to do it, only to have to change it.
Just do it again.
Yeah. So that's our. And then I just included the two memos that the chief and I both wrote to the budget committee explaining where we were. And now you have a default budget. Problem with the default budget is it's about $500,000 underneath the general operating budget. And I tell you that because if the default is chosen.
We'll have a tough job ahead of us.
The memos you sent was 6 and 8, right? In November?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I got the right page.
Okay, all set there with warrant articles? Good?
I'm okay.
Good.
All right, Tuesday, December 24th, Town Hall hours.
So on Christmas Eve, we are asking if the town hall could close at noon. Speaking with the departments, we would like to invade the fire station and hold a staff team building holiday festive luncheon. We'll bring in potluck and wish the holidays to the people that we work with every day, and then depart so that our town staff can prepare for Christmas Eve with their families.
I'm good with it.
Yep, I support it as well.
Yep.
Been done in the past.
Yep.
I'm good.
It's Christmas Eve.
Do it.
So, thank
Do
you.
you need a motion?
Yes, just to close town hall at noon.
Just for Monday, right? I mean, for
For
Christmas.
Tuesday, December 24th.
Closing the town hall at noon on the 24th, I believe it is?
Noon.
Yeah, at noon.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those-
Are you gonna do the same thing on New Year's Eve? Because if you are, we should probably include them both together.
That's certainly fine with me.
No, I'm asking you, is it your plan?
New Year's Eve.
It was not our plan. I think it's
Good plan?
a good plan because I don't think a lot of people will be running into town hall on New Year's Eve to register their cars or ask for a signed permit or.
Well, New
And I
Year's
think
Eve?
the earlier we can get it out there to people, the better.
That's what I'm thinking too.
do you
So
wanna amend?
I would like to amend Mr. Lynch's motion to include New Year's Eve.
I concur.
Close at
Second.
New Year's.
I'll accept the amendment.
We have to vote on the amendment.
Well, I'm just accepting the amendment.
Do we have to vote on the
Agree with-
amendment?
yes.
All right.
Seconding.
We have a first and a second.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I seconded it.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
500.
Wrong choice.
Now you have to vote on the motion.
Now we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 500. All right. 15, 2025 holiday schedule.
They are the exact same holidays as 2024.
Wow.
Only, obviously, the dates changed due to the year. So there's no new holidays, the exact same holidays.
Need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion, we approve the dates for holidays in 2025.
Second it.
All right, first and second, any discussion? All those in favor say.
Subject to political change.
Aye. No, abstain, 500. Okay, this is gonna be a crazy one, number 16.
2025 Board of Selectmen meeting schedule. So I did this, this year on purpose.
See where the holidays are.
So I went through the year to see where the holidays
Got it.
were.
Yeah.
And I either moved, and I noted it on the bottom of the schedule.
I can see
There's
that.
actually only 2 dates that change this year because yours Monday fell on a holiday.
Yep.
And that's Memorial Day
Mhm.
and the Columbus Day. So,
Let's look at
you know,
that.
one I'm holding earlier and both I'm holding earlier, a week earlier.
I was actually looking at that this morning for 2025, where the dates are gonna be. Thank you.
And so what I would like to do is, the calendar is getting increasingly challenging
Yes.
with all of the committees. John and I are like, so we're going to, if you approve this, we're going to put this on the calendar. Donna will do that tomorrow.
I can do it
And-
with you as an upload, so it'll be quicker if you want.
Okay, if you'd like. And then I'm gonna send the document out to all the boards and the commissions, and I am going to ask them to do the same and get those into us so that we can fill the calendar of all the normally scheduled meetings.
Yeah, it makes
Because
sense.
even like, I mean, I think Selectman Queen and I were on the phone Friday for ever trying to find just a couple dates that we could move, and it's really challenging. The town's very busy. So we'd like everyone to get all of their 2025 meetings out.
There's a lot of things going on. In the last year, more things have kicked in.
Yes.
Committees, the
Energy,
subcommittees.
economic
Everything.
development, and,
Yep.
you know.
Make a motion to approve the 2025 Board of Selectmen meetings.
Second.
Who was the second?
John.
Okay.
No, that was Steve.
Any discussion?
I was slow.
All right. All those in
Thanks, Steve.
favor say aye.
Aye.
500.
I tried to jump that one, get it done.
All right. Number 17 of 18. Ooh, we're getting there. 2025 Litchfield Town Academy Project.
Okay, so, one of the things that I have heard, from town department heads is that sometimes they wish that our residents knew more about what we do every day. And, you know, so this is something I did in my last municipality, solely for this reason. And I don't know if it would fly here. I don't know if there would be any interest. But we'd like to put it out there.
Yeah.
It's basically, you have residents sign up for a program and you hold it once a year. We haven't worked out with the department heads on how many sessions we'd need, but each department head, say you have 20 residents sign up for the academy, each department head would make a presentation to the residents on what their department does. So it does 2 things. Those residents get to meet the department heads, they get to talk to them, they get to know them, and they get to hear what the departments really do. So who's responsible for what? And I wanted it to bring it forth to the selectmen before I, discussed it at the leadership meeting tomorrow, to see if it's something the selectmen are even interested in doing. I can tell you, in my past municipality, they filled up 3 years in a row like that. You just advertise it, people sign up for it, and they come. And they generally, at the end, you give them a certificate, that they passed the town academy, and
Give them an application to be on a board.
we could, sometimes you do get board members that way, believe it or not. People that are interested, but at least they get a general conception of what the town and what different departments do. So that maybe when those questions come out up on social media, they're answering with some knowledge.
Makes sense.
So it's a program we would put together for 2025. It wouldn't be for this year.
It's a good idea.
Yep, I support it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do it.
I would assume you're gonna include the boards and commissions too, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think,
So-
I think educating the residents on all the boards and what their roles are in this town, and the town government would be really good. Just to help them. And again, spare more volunteers to kind of.
Yeah.
I never thought I could do that. Let me look at that.
I mean, so, Chris and, Matt and, Marion, and whoever they chose to present with them.
They love it.
Yeah, and I think giving our residents a chance to meet people and not everyone has a face to the name. It does. It creates relationships and
It'd be good all the way around, because more people are interested out there, but how do they figure out how to do what? Go to learn about it.
yes.
It's important.
I mean, I think one of the most critical roles we play is education, so on
I
every
think
aspect
so,
of it,
too.
so it
Yeah.
makes sense.
I agree. Great, happy. So Jesse Russ Blanchett and I and Laura Gandia went Saturday to the land use conference. It was very informative. At one point, the land use conference talked about a technical review committee and the importance of a technical review committee. And speaking with both Jesse and Russ Blanchett, who are both on planning, they said, why don't we have a technical review committee? And I explained we do. So they asked if I would attend planning tomorrow and speak about it, because it doesn't seem that the planning has it in their kind of instructions. So maybe we should document that committee in their site plan regulations and their procedures, and at least let, obviously, everyone know that that's what we're doing.
Doesn't the planning administrator attend the TRC? She hasn't communicated that's a process you guys are running internally?
No.
What did you say? It's in the general what?
It'd be good.
And she's
people
not,
to come in
and
and
she's
see
not
what's
there
going
tomorrow night.
Oh.
So
That's what I'm referring to.
I did let her know that I would speak to it. I'm on vacation.
I don't
December
believe it.
9th through the 13th.
That's all?
I don't
Fun.
believe it.
But I will have access to email and
You won't.
be working to the day. Don't shut me off. I need to
When are you going again?
So the
communicate.
Energy Commission kicks in, right?
Um,
When you're not here.
we are looking for ways to get our newsletter communicated. So if any of the board has ideas on how we can get the newsletters out there.
Tax bills.
Can't
Can't
put anything in a tax bill.
Send it with
I think that it's getting lost the way we're posting it now.
I believe so as well.
I think somebody mentioned you the other day, we'll bring up tomorrow in a leadership meeting too, is driving things back to the site to get people to come back and look at it. And I think maybe doing a little more vignettes versus the big thing may make more sense, but certainly can kick that around.
I mean, there definitely has to be something, because, I mean, the police department worked very hard on the November newsletter, putting information together, very good information, which we included. And so we really need to make sure that our residents are seeing this, and we're kind of drawing a blank. It's published here, it's on the new website. I just don't think we're getting, and I don't know, is there a place that it's worth printing? I mean, a church or I don't know.
Library?
Library.
LFM.
Huh?
Litchfield Food Mart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Get a little newspaper stand thing.
Is it on the
Litchfield
cable?
News.
Do you remember that thing we used to post when they could watch on cable?
Oh.
It could be there.
Oh, on,
On
the,
the cable?
cable?
CTV.
Yes, we do post notifications, but it's hard to read a newsletter when it's.
Oh, you can't just show the picture? Like they used to like have lost dogs.
It is a picture, but it's, you gotta read it. It's a lot of
Yeah, you
content.
gotta read it.
Well, I didn't know if
has
it would
con-
just stay there for 30 seconds. I could read something.
We could do, I could
Or
do,
advertise anyway
I could
for it.
do a QR code that points to a landing page where all the newsletters are gonna be.
Yeah, just so they
They're organized.
I'll tell them where it is.
And just say, hey, for the latest and greatest, newsletter, click the QR code and you go right to our website and read it. You can do that.
I think
Just tell them where it's located.
this month have Kevin do something about putting stakes out on the side of the road where they should be, how far they should be, and then we won't be tearing up people's lawns.
Oh, I thought you were going back to.
Right at the curb, right at the curb, buddy, right at the curb.
I mean, I don't
At the
know.
brush
Is
patch,
it
you
worth
get
having a
scratched.
bulletin board at Talent Hall? Is it? I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, there is a lot of kiosks around where you can put the paper in and maybe somebody walking through will just stop and read it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got to start being creative in how we get information out, and it's proving.
Do you wanna start recording a weekly, video on the happenings
No, I
within
think
town?
we've pretty much proved that my recordings don't work
Oh,
that well.
it's coming back out again.
Oh.
In a 3-part series.
No. So, and like John just said, we have a leadership meeting tomorrow. We're continuing to work on our strategic plan. Everyone did their SWOT, and now we're moving to goals and objectives. And then below that is the trustees of the trust funds report, for your knowledge, and I'm done.
Sure you're done.
And I'm out of steam, guys.
Get tired.
All right. So that was your town administrator report. All right, let's go around the room.
All right, rec. So tree lighting event, as you heard tonight, will be December 7th at Dara from 4 to 7 p.m. We went down over the weekend and graded the parking lot a little bit to remove a lot of the ruts, so when people are walking around that night, hopefully they won't twist any legs. Thank you to Tim's Turf for donating some dirt. Third annual tour of Christmas lights. Registration is open. There'll be a map put on the first weekend of December. And what this is all the surrounding towns get together, and it's a group that records where all the houses are. So you could actually go on your phone and go house to house to see all the Christmas lights.
That's cool.
John Bryant River access and pickleball courts have been closed for the winter. Portable bathrooms have been picked up. Trash barrels have been stored except for the one at Dara. Then as we're Christmas here tonight, we're looking at repair and maintenance items we need to address. One of them was covering the outdoor heating element at Talent Hall, a urinal replacement at Talent Hall, grade and fill in potholes we just did, and that's it, yeah. So they are gonna come and ask about encumbering funds, so that we could do things like fix the broken urinal that's been problematic since, March. I think that's all I have. And then Thursday is Heritage, so we'll get rid of both of them.
I was thinking of a raccoon knocking over the porta potty, the first thing you capture on your camera.
If a raccoon knocks it over, that's.
I've nothing to say.
One strong raccoon.
Little handcuffs.
No, what we did find, which is kind of odd, is like, the trash barrels have the rain lids on, and a lot of them have been chewed inside, so I think an animal got in, and then they can't get out, so they chew on it until the door falls off.
Squirrels probably, yeah. They fell in.
I have nothing to say till tomorrow night.
Okay,
Planning board's tomorrow night.
all right. I'll go to you guys.
Oh, okay. School facilities, they're still working on that survey.
The best you sounded.
Start getting some results in, and budget meets Thursday. We start working on the school budgets.
Good.
The best I sounded.
John?
You happy, Bob?
Conservation, so, couple of dates, Parker Park, the two bridges are now 100% complete.
Yep.
There's also some new, smaller plank bridges around the park. It actually looks really nice. I think I mentioned last meeting about an intern program. So they did get their final, the Conservation Commission is posting for the job. They're actually gonna get to hire the intern and validate based on the projects they have. And I think I heard, of the organizations that applied for it, we were the three of the 5 that applied to get it, so it's all good. But the nice thing is they get to pick the student, the intern, and then go there. And there's a lot of, basically, some of the projects are basically cataloging a lot of the resources, the sites, and understanding what they have for assets. Update on the DeRocha property. The environmental study was done. They didn't find anything. Everything was good. Test pits are done. All good there. There was no signs of any groundwater in the 6-foot holes they dug. And they said there was excellent drainage in the soils. And they're trying to finalize the survey and agree to the subdivision, which I guess is the big part now.
They were there today, did work.
Yeah, and then the last is Morse Falls. They're continuing to look at ways to improve those trail systems over there. If you watched the last meeting, there was some discussion about some adjacent property that's up for topic, so I'm sure there'll be more coming at some point in time on that. The last would be, the other one would be Energy Commission, or Energy Committee. There was a meeting at the beginning of the month with Standard Power to talk about the current contract and where we're standing with locking a rate for our residents. We are still at a hold because the rates are still better at Eversource than they are anyplace else. I think they're hoping to kick it back off February timeframe with a kickoff in April, so more to follow on that. So that's a holding pattern. That's it.
Nice, very good. All right, let's see, let's get the easy one out of the way. NRPC, we meet Wednesday, 11:20, this week. It's both executive committee and full commissioners. We will be ranking, I guess they've already been ranked, all the projects for the 10-year plan. So we're just gonna go over those and see how they are. There was $70 million asked for. There's only $7 million in grants, so obviously some things were no. Nashua asked for something that was $30 million. That was a no. So I think what they did is they actually did them by rank, their normal scoring. And then once you qualified, I believe they just gave your town one. So if Nashua had 2 or Amherst had 2, if you qualified for both, you only could take one. So it would be distributed throughout the other communities. Let's see. So that's going to be a long meeting on Wednesday, which is fine. All right, the SIP we're having fun with. We are meeting Friday, 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. because we can't find meeting rooms, right? So we'll be here at the town hall Friday, 4 p.m. to 5:30. Let's see. I believe that November 26th was also that. So we also have a meeting that day, right? We're waiting for the school, right? The survey results to be all done. Yeah. So even we're gonna meet anyway without the school's input, although he may be there.
I think
But
they're pushing that back till December.
Oh, okay. So we pushed off SIP for them to have time to go through that survey for the school. Okay, so we're meeting Friday the 22nd anyway. I may be meeting the 26th, maybe to wrap it up. It can't hurt.
Where are you meeting on the 26th? 'Cause
I know, it's not on the calendar, so I just
not on the
crossed it
calendar,
out,
and
so.
both conference rooms were already booked.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why I have that old note, but, all right, so, but we do meet in December, right, early in December?
Yes. So
Oh, that'll be our
first
normal
Monday.
meeting time anyway.
On the 26th, December 26th?
That's the capital, yeah.
All right, so, it's just again, the rooms are getting very difficult to find, and then trying to match it with cable available, you know, the recording availability is tough
Bet you
too.
get more attendance if you rent
You threw a wrench on
space at
Friday. so
Romano's
that's-
house.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right, economic development, so we have a couple things going on there. We are still awaiting approval from the minutes, hopefully, that's going on. Now, first of all, our next meeting date is Thanksgiving Eve, so I don't think many people will be arriving.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, did
We
you cancel the
canceled
meeting?
it.
Oh, you canceled it, okay. I got all my emails up to date as of yesterday.
And we
All right.
canceled
Your
Christmas.
Eve canceled too? Okay.
No, Christmas Day. it
Oh,
was
Christmas
ca-
Day is also. All right, but in the meantime, we're gonna see if we can find
Have to
another
draw a
date that
line.
works for everybody. But Laura Gandia and Jay Mancaro are working on potential zoning changes that we'll be looking at, so they can work on that in the meantime. All right, the only other thing is,
We got drafts on those yet?
no, well, that's what we're working on now. We have to let those people speak. So, all right, so that's it for me. We still have to do Ms. Kleiner's review at some point, so we don't forget that. All right, does anybody have anything else before we close the public part of the meeting? All good? All right. So I'm gonna say we're gonna enter into, I have to read this whole thing, huh? Okay. All right, non-public session, we're going to enter. RSA 91-A:3, I guess this is Roman numeral 11A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such an employee, or the investigation of any charges against him, unless the employee affected, one, has the right to a meeting, and two, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request will be granted. RSA 91A:3, I don't know, is it II? 2C, a matter that, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely, adversely the reputation of a person other than the member of the body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. And RSA 91-A:32I, consideration of matter relating to the preparation for and the carrying out of emergency functions, including training to carry out such functions developed by local or state safety officials that are directly intended to thwart a deliberate act that is intended to result in widespread or severe damage to property or widespread injury or loss of life. All right, we're going to adjourn the normal meeting at 10:03. Oh, we have to vote? Okay, so sorry.
With non-public.
All right,
Motion to go into non-public?
thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. Good night. 10:03.
500.
Yep, we'll wait till that's done.
Good, because I
That
got
was
to
a long meeting.
Fire stays.
fire stays.
For the first one.
Did they fly in today?
They did, so then we need to get them home.
Oh, yeah.
Who flew in?
Although, so,
They were at training center.
Oh, they just flew in today? These two?
These two.
They must be, no wonder they're tired over there.
Yes, yes.